Eddie Murphy's Too Old for This Shit, Alien Romulus Keeping It Real, and Denny Villeneuve's little brother is handing out second chances in Hollywood.
Oh, it's time for class.
Class is in session!
Roll call! Bueller?
I'm gonna be late for class.
Bueller?
Am I hallucinating here? Just what in the hell do you think you're doing?
I'm late for class.
You are mine now. You belong to me.
Did you study for the test?
No more complaining. No more Mr. Kimble to go to the bathroom. Nothing. There is no bathroom.
Hello, classmates. Welcome to another episode of Middle Class Film Class. I'm your host for today, Pete.
I'm Tyler.
And I'm Joseph.
And we got a great show for you today. The gang is back.
We're all back.
We're
Yes.
here. Some of us in body, some of us just in spirit.
Yes. Some of us just by voice.
Yeah. But Tyler's here.
Well-
Tyler's here. He's just not here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
That's what matters.
He's
though.
on the show.
Yeah.
If I have to, I would like to explain the reason why I'm
Oh, okay.
at my
I
home.
didn't know you were
recording
gonna.
this.
I don't know you were gonna give us the depressing reason why you have to be home right now.
Well, because I want the thoughts and prayers to my beloved bodega.
yeah.
He's a family dog. He's on his last legs. And if you're from northern Sacramento, if you're from Northern California, you know, I mean, like even if you're living in the continental U.S., like we're going through a heat wave, and so it's about to be 103 today. I gotta make sure that he's okay.
Yeah, that's
And
right.
Plus, my parents decided to take a luxurious trip to Chicago.
Your parents are like, they have this mansion, this like 5-story, 2 libraries,
It's the Shining Hotel. It's the Overlook.
indoor
It's the Overlook,
observatory,
okay. Yeah.
roof-mounted herb garden estate. This huge mansion, and any excuse they can to not be there. Every weekend, they're off to parts unknown.
They're traveling everywhere. I mean, like, look, like they're, you know, they're in the twilight of their years.
Are
so,
they?
you know,
They're both working still. They're not retired.
true that.
Yeah. So anyway, so Tyler's watching over a bodega. So if he has to leave for any moment, that's why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
he's fine now. But you know, my ear.
I thought you were going to give us the reason why you weren't here last week.
yeah, he had Montezuma's revenge.
I don't.
okay.
I don't want to get into.
He was in
that one.
Tijuana and he drank the water.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's not get into that one.
So
I was just infirmed.
anyways, thank you to everyone on YouTube Live and otherwise, and of course the OG classmates in podcast land. We already have Jack Fitzpatrick in the chat, Heather,
Yeah. I want
Bruce.
I want to bring in some years spanning drama that I found out about.
Year spanning?
Years
Oh, okay.
spanning drama on the show.
What up, Eric?
Specifically with you, Pete.
Yeah. Oh shit.
So my brother's in town. He's from Sweden, or he's not from Sweden. He lives in Sweden.
Oh, Michael Graves.
Greaves.
Greaves.
Graves. I want his last name to be Graves.
Don't dead name him.
Dead name.
That was never the name.
Yeah.
So he's visiting with his daughter, my niece. She's 6 now. We went to Disneyland last weekend.
It's a weird name, my niece. It's like Denise.
Sure. So that's why I wasn't here. I was spending time with him
And the Galaxy's Edge.
and my niece.
Yeah.
And he brought up some things. He brought up some movies that he had messaged Pete specifically about
He did, yes.
years ago.
Yes, he did.
Years ago.
Yeah,
years ago.
Literally, I have those rather receipts. I'll pull them up.
Yes, and so
Wow.
we were talking about this when I was hanging out with him. He mentioned to him, my brother mentioned to Pete that he should watch Delicatessen and City of Lost Children. Same director as Very Long Engagement and Amelie and Alien Resurrection.
This was October 1st, 2022.
Yeah.
Oh God. 2 years ago.
And at the time, my brother was listening to the show more often, and he
He's
noticed
like, yeah, I don't like it anymore.
he noticed that Pete never brought it up because Pete explicitly said that he would try to fit them in.
I did. I said, here's the actual conversation. By the way, when am I going to hear your take on Delicatessen? Oof, I've been putting that off. Delicatessen and City of Lost Children soon. ... His original request was actually even before this. It was back in I think it was April. I'm trying to find the exact date when he first gave that. Maybe it was an email. I have a Facebook Messenger group chat with him and Tyler's family. But
Yeah, I don't like that.
but there may be a payoff this episode.
Yeah, and then he messaged you.
Oh, directly.
When I was in the room with him,
He said,
I was like, yeah, you should do it.
he goes, hey, I'm sitting here talking to Joey right now at my mom's house and reflecting on the fact that you haven't watched or commented on Delicatessen or City of Lost Children in almost 2 years.
Wait, did he just call him Joey?
Yeah,
my,
Joey.
my brother.
I told him, I sent him a gift saying, I'm sorry, I failed you. From a movie that I don't know about. But yeah, maybe there's going to be a payoff. Maybe there's not.
Maybe there is.
So what?
Maybe there won't. Maybe it's just the running bit. And we talked about that too. Maybe his bit will just be like constantly writing in if you've watched it, and your bit is you haven't.
It's like Matt Damon appearing as a guest on Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah.
It just always just ran out of time.
Oh yeah.
Or like
yeah.
that,
Dang. Sorry.
or that-
Couldn't
or that
couldn't squeeze
Paul
it
Rudd.
in. Couldn't squeeze in Delicatessen.
Yeah.
What was that Paul Rudd bit? They played.
Oh, showing the clip of
Mac and Me.
Mac and me.
Mac
Yeah,
and Me,
instead of his thing. But
But yeah, so that's what I did this week. I didn't just hung out with him as much as I could because now he left this morning to the P&W. So
cool. Nice.
yeah.
Well, we're back.
Every time I think I'm out, they pull me back in.
He's back. He's back.
Me, I'm back.
Yeah. There. There. There.
Yeah. And
It just keeps going.
yeah. And this is Tyler's return music.
Yeah. Very appreciative.
And he's
of
back.
it.
Yeah. He's sad about all the poops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it happens. You know, it's okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I want also talk about the fill-ins that we had last week.
Yeah. Yeah.
Eric and John.
Eric and John, yeah.
Eric and John. Yeah. At first, I was like, John's got some hot takes.
John. Yeah. John was.
I appreciate.
He's like, I'm taking down Coppola right here. Eric too, though. Eric was like,
Yeah.
not apparently not a fan of
Godfather 1 and 2
Godfather.
and 3.
any of them.
Yeah.
No, I think he said 3's the good one.
Oh yeah, he likes 3.
Yeah, I liked
Yeah,
3 too.
we're on the same page.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, who is
I
this?
thought
Who
that-
is this fucking guy? But then, and then I was like, oh, okay, he's got some cool things to say.
Yeah, that's right.
You're gonna look at me and you're gonna tell me that I'm wrong?
Well,
Am I wrong?
also, Jason from Binge Movies filled in for the what's it called, the Iron Claw,
Right.
and we barely even talked about like plot or anything in the movie. It was just the history of wrestling, basically.
Oh, really?
Yeah, regional wrestling.
That's funny.
Yeah, it was
And Tyler, you missed it. You missed your own movie.
I know. I've already explained myself. I was infirmed.
You have
no, we're not looking. We're not trying to like bash you over it, but it's like
I wanted to talk about
I know
it
you
because
wanted to.
I have a lot of thoughts.
You're gonna have to
about
put the movie back on the wheel because.
no.
No, I'm not putting it back on the wheel. No.
So we'll just never know your thoughts.
Yeah. Well,
Are you kidding? Oh, do you want me to read the
No, you-
letterbox right now?
you messaged me. We'll do it later. You messaged me early that morning when you said you couldn't come, and you said,
Yeah.
I'll send my thoughts in later while I'm on the can." And I never got a message.
No, I couldn't. I could
You
barely
had to
even.
really focus on just being present.
He was
for
fighting for his
that,
life.
for that dumpage.
That's exactly correct.
All right, and enough of that. Let's get in some Gavin chatter.
Find some charity, ye lad. Now's the time for Gavin chatter.
Gavin chatter, movie news of the week. Tyler, why don't you lead us off with your story?
All right, so this comes from IndieWire.com. Eddie Murphy is going on to be quoting to be said, "I would rather not do any stunts in Beverly Hills Cop 4. I had no idea that they were going to make a Beverly Hills Cop 4.
Yeah, it's coming. It's very close, I think.
Yeah, and so it got me thinking because it got me thinking about stuntmen in general, because when actors like, this is why I don't really respect Tom Cruise for doing his own stunts, because it's putting people out of work.
That's my
Like,
what?
That's pretty stuntman out of work.
Yeah, like they're there for a reason.
I think he
yeah, that
still
makes sense.
has
And-
stuntmen on his movies, though.
Who?
I think there are still stuntmen in those movies, though.
Just not for him.
No,
Just not for Tom Cruise.
But Tom Cruise, like, he does like most of the stunts.
Not for everybody. He only does his own stunts.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. And so, I would like it.
I've heard something. I've heard something similar in the sense that it's a little selfish, and not necessarily because it's taking a job away. But what if he hurts himself so badly, they have to shut the entire production down? Now you're taking away hundreds of jobs.
That's exactly what.
But
I
it's
was
so
gonna get as
cool.
well. And so, Eddie Murphy was on the Today Show, and he said that he felt like an old man when filming the 4th franchise installment. He obviously played the titular Detroit detective who goes undercover in Los Angeles back in 1984. And he goes on to saying, "I did Beverly Hills Cop when I was 21, and I'm 63 now." And I haven't watched the interview, but I can imagine like Eddie Murphy like in like a meeting like with producers. He's like, "I'm fucking 63. Like, come on."
Well, who's
Like,
asking him to do the stunts? No one should be doing that.
Come on, Murphy. Come on.
I know. Don't be a bitch,
They were
Murph.
Just jump off the
Murph.
moving car.
Can you imagine someone calling him Murph? Oh my god, I would love that.
Don't let me leave, Murph.
But he said, "Now I would rather not do any. I would rather not do any stunts. We were shooting something, and the director, Mark Malloy, said, 'I want you to come out of this place and run down those steps.' And after we shot, and he's like, 'Can you come down with more urgency and faster?' And then he goes on to saying, 'No,
I'm an old man.'
He was like, 'No, I'm not doing anything action. Don't call me unless you offer me the same type of shit you would offer Morgan Freeman.'"
He's like, "I'm old, bro. I'm old."
I mean, like, the man's 63, so like, going down steps like that could hurt him.
Yeah.
So the new 4th Beverly Hills Cop, which I just found out today, it's called Beverly Hills Cop Axel F.
Yeah. Axel Foley's his character's name.
Yeah. And it also like, obviously Eddie Murphy's coming back, and then John Taggart, Judge Reinhold, Kevin Bacon, Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Judge Reinhold, that's cool.
Jogo.
Yeah.
Bruce says in the chat, I think he's in reference to Eddie Murphy no longer being a young man. You can call him Edward Murph now.
Edward
I wonder if his name is Edward.
Probably.
Yeah. Some people just go by
But
Eddie.
That's
it, just Eddie.
Eddie. I knew a guy, I worked with a guy, his name was Robbie Jackson. And I asked
Robbie
him.
Jackson.
Yeah, I asked him if his birth name was Robert. And he said, "Nope, it's Robbie. Robbie on my driver's license."
Yeah.
And then you're just like, I want to see your
I have a friend.
your birth certificate.
From high school.
Yeah.
His name is Billy, and it's not William. It's just Billy.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's so weird. But anyways, like, it got me thinking about, I mean, like, for Eddie Murphy's sake, yeah, he's feeling his age, so of course he's not going to want to do like a bunch of stunts like on his own, as far as even going down a flight of stairs with urgency.
Yeah. Run
But-
faster. I mean, it's like watching what's his name? Keanu Reeves in the later John Wick movies.
Oh, yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's not they do a really good job with the editing to make it look pretty believable. But
Right.
as the series, I haven't seen the 4th one yet, but I know like I've seen more of the Bill and Ted, sort of the Face of Music or whatever.
Yeah, then yeah.
There's
Yeah.
definitely a decline in sense of, like you said, sense of urgency to most scenes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I mean-
I don't blame him. I really don't.
He has a
I don't-
he has a
I don't
run.
either.
He has a way that he runs where it looks like he's struggling.
Who?
Keanu Reeves.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he broke his hip riding a motorcycle or something, maybe.
But I mean, it brings it. But you brought up the point that I was going to bring up, Pete, is like when actors do their own stunts and they get injured, then it takes out the whole production.
It's production.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
so you have to have the like. I mean, I guess you could probably like film like some things, but it's almost kind of like getting laid off in a sense. Like if Eddie Murphy like fell down those stairs because he did a second take and ran down with urgency, and then he slipped and fell, hurt his back or something, it's over. This is like a multi-million dollar.
you can replace
production.
any stuntman.
It's true. Just put another stuntman in there. They're expendable.
I mean, I think the
exactly.
I think
That's what I'm saying.
I think the Fall Guy was probably a good the way they made the movie, because Ryan Gosling did a lot of his own stunts, but he didn't do 100% of his own stunts because he was falling into the role of a stuntman in the movie. So he had to be, he almost like he had like a personal goal to be like, well, I want to also be involved in the making of the stunts, but also I'm not going to do stunt that could potentially risk my life or severe injury.
They show a lot of the actual stunt work in the credits when that movie is done. At the first half of the credits, it shows a lot of the stunts, and it's like some of the stuff is him, and then it's like a Texas switch or whatever, and it goes to the actual stuntman doing big stuff. But it was I get that.
Yeah,
I would have to imagine that Ryan Gosling also got coached on how to be a stunt person as well. Like, when filming that,
they're just like, good luck.
So
I know. See you later. Have fun. Hope you don't die and ruin our production.
So you need to be on this like a tractor thing, dragging across the bridge.
Yeah.
And
Cool. Anything else, Tyler?
No, that was the only news story of note.
Great.
That I saw, and it was illuminating that there was a new Beverly Hills Cop movie coming out.
have you seen the movies?
Oh my God! Like I think I saw it. I think I saw the first one just once, and I couldn't tell you like if it
was good or not.
Anything if it was good or not.
I watched the first one recently, and it was way better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched it like earlier this year or last year too, like in full, and it was pretty entertaining.
A lot of that era of is it Beverly Hills Cop?
There's 48 Hours as well.
48 Hours is another one that was a little less entertaining than Beverly Hills Cop.
Is that the Nick
Nolte
one?
Yeah. But that one didn't hold up as much. But I feel like a lot of those era movies like Caddyshack, it's like not as funny as people make it think. And then I watched that and I'm like, hey, it's pretty good. Eddie Murphy's charming as fuck in both of those movies, 48 Hours and Beverly Hills Cop. So
yeah.
Cool.
So I mean, that's all. That's all I got for this week.
All right, Joseph, what do you got?
All right. Before I get into my news story, I'll address some things in the chat.
Oh yeah,
Jack noticed the shirt that I'm wearing.
What does it say?
It says "endless anxiety," and then there's like a person's eyes, and then it says "sleep when you're dead." He's asking what if the shirt's a reference to something. It's a Viagra Boys shirt.
Yeah, Bagger Boys.
It's a band, Viagra Boys. Look them up.
Yeah, they're dope.
So there's that. There's
Street Worms, great album.
Cave World, also great. Music talk. There's a weather talk going on in the chat now.
Hell yeah.
Oh,
It's spread from our chatter to
it's a virus is taking over
now
the world.
Now the fans are talking about it. It's hot in the south and humid. It's 70,000 degrees in Alabama with humidity. It's 100 degrees here. It's and then it's cold. It's winter in Australia. So
Yeah. Jack says he's the furthest south, so he must be super humid.
yeah. But so my news story is about the anticipated upcoming Fede Alvarez Alien movie.
Oh yeah, Alien Romulus.
Alien Romulus.
Coming out
Oh Jesus!
October, I think.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited.
No, I thought it was September.
I don't know. It's coming out in the last half of the year.
Yeah.
Q4, as we say.
The fiscal year.
Fiscal year.
And so this is about the making of the movie in terms of the effects, the visual effects that he's using, and he went as practical as possible is essentially the gist of the article, and his mindset going into the movie is like, if we can do it practically, then we're gonna do it practically.
Hell yeah.
From puppeteering face huggers to even sorting of visual effects shots himself as the director.
Cool.
He says if it can be done practical, it will be done practical. meaning that
I think I heard that quote before.
that there were no green screens on set and limited CGI, even down to CG shots of the spaceships, which are scans of handmade miniatures. For him, the immersion of the story for the audience and the believability of the special effects is everything, which this is the article saying this, which he feels puts him at odds with other blockbuster directors in Hollywood today. He says, ideally, we fool you, which is what I think movies to a certain extent have stopped trying to do. Expanding on his reasoning, he pointed to the CG-heavy superhero movies that have dominated the cinematic theaters for a while now. He praises them as fun and colorful, but nonetheless pointed out that no one is trying to get you to believe the creature or whatever it is in there. Something which he believes is the best movies used to do. So no one's like going to the movie thinking like, that looks like a real giant space worm coming out of the sky in Avengers.
Yeah, exactly.
And he says, it seems like those movies have given up for the most part, but we haven't, which has been an enormous task for us to really push everybody involved in understanding that, particularly with Alien, you need to believe that what you're looking at is real. Otherwise, it just doesn't work. And it makes sense. I mean, if you go into a movie like an Avengers type movie or a movie of that type where it's just like a giant CG monsters,
all CG, yeah,
or even a Snyder movie where it's like this isn't. It doesn't seem like they're trying to fool you.
Yeah,
it's like they know that it's not real.
Yeah,
and like the immersion is just not there. It's like going on, coincidentally being in Disneyland, going on all the rides, knowing that like I'm just in a room and I could see the ceiling, even though it's completely dark in here. You can see all the little light bulbs.
You can see the ceiling
and the fire alarms and stuff and the exit signs.
Yeah.
The illusion is shattered as an adult versus like when you're a kid.
Yeah. I remember when Space Mountain, I got stopped on Space Mountain the last time I went, and it was exactly that. I'm like, man, I thought the tracks above my head were so much closer.
Yeah.
You put your arms up and you think you're gonna smack your hands.
Yeah.
And then you see the reality of it, and you're like, well, I guess that makes sense. They wouldn't put me in mortal danger to lose a limb. But my mind feels that way, and I agree. I want to feel that way when I go to a movie too.
Yeah, so it's like it's like going on a ride. I mean, I think Martin Scorsese, I think he said they were like theme parks or like amusement rides,
pretty much,
something like that. And it's like I know I'm going on a roller coaster. I know I'm going on this like scary ride, but these are just animatronics, and this is just a set, and like it's not fooling me anymore. But that's my expected going into like a Marvel movie or going into anything like that.
But I mean, like to expand on that point as well, like with him saying we're trying to do practical effects as much as we possibly can. Like I respect that because there's an artisticness to it, doing practical effects.
Well, yeah, because it's like working with your hands.
Yeah, I mean, of course, and that's not to disparage like anyone who works in VX as well.
Yeah,
but I think he's kind of getting a little bit full of himself. He's like, "Oh, we're using practical effects."
Oh, like he's doing something revolutionary.
Well,
yeah, it's
just
just like
not revolutionary. It's just kind of there's an increased level of using CG.
It just sounds pretentious.
I mean, I feel like it's just taking the art form back a little bit and saying just because we can use CG doesn't mean we should. Fix it in post versus fix it in pre. Do it in camera so it looks good. I actually saw, a couple weeks ago we talked about the werewolf movie coming out. I guess it was just last week with John and Eric.
Yeah,
and I followed the director on Twitter, and that shot of the werewolf with the gleam in his eyes, the yellow glint in his eyes, he said, we chose this shot on purpose because it's all in camera. Even the glint in the yellow eyes, he said that was hard to capture in on camera, like in without doing post.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that because it feels more lived in.
So what do you guys think? You think practical effects are making a comeback now?
I mean, I don't think they ever went away. It's just there's
I'm
like
not saying. Well,
I don't know how
within the
convenient actual
mainstream.
CGI is for filmmakers, and I don't know how much cheaper it is either because
It's not cheaper.
Animators.
It's more expensive, but it's like it just takes, I think, the amount of planning that goes into a practical shot versus okay, we're gonna just look at the tennis ball, act scared, and then we'll let the VFX people figure it out later.
My perspective, or I guess view on CGI or CGI usage is like, I think Nolan does it like really well. Like he uses CG in his movies, but he does it in a way where it's like you wouldn't tell.
It's not slapping you in the face.
You wouldn't. It's like Dork of all dorks is saying, Heather.
Yeah.
It's CGI cleanup.
Yeah.
And he goes on to say that, or this article goes on to say that there are stop motion shots in Romulus as well. And he also argued that Hollywood can often be lazy in opting to use CGI over practical effects as it's quicker and saves you a headache on set.
But
even if it is more expensive.
Yeah. Oh, so exactly what you just said. Cool.
Yeah.
I have a
Interesting.
a clip that Jack actually sent me earlier in the week about the Alien premiere back in the 70s. And it was somebody outside the theater interviewing families that brought their small children into the theater to watch this rated R horror movie.
Yeah.
And here's a clip. Oh, you can not hear it? Oh, there it goes.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
This is great stuff.
Let me rewind this. Go ahead and continue.
Practical effects have really come a super long way since the first Alien movie.
Sure. Absolutely.
When the first chest burster scene, I'm sure it was very shocking when it was in theaters. Now, watching it, it's very much like it's very stiff and very much a puppet, and obviously fits within the time that it was released and everything.
I still think it's super effective, but when the puppet comes out and is moving or on the stick, I mean, you could see quote unquote see the strings, but it doesn't bother me whatsoever.
I mean, like, I think that just goes to show how great like the setup was for it. Like, of course, if you look at it objectively from like a prop standpoint, yes, it was the 70s, so they had limited.
I love it.
Limited
I wouldn't change it.
But it's effective for the scenes. Like you don't have to. Like that should the quality of that prop should not be taking you out of the movie because of the way the scene was set up.
All right, I got that clip pulled up. Here we go.
Are you sorry, sir, that you brought your son along to see Alien?
No, ma'am. I think he should have seen it. It's something that he needs to know that things like that could happen in life. That could be a true story based on science. We never know what's going on the outside of the world.
Hey, man, he's not wrong.
Yeah. So the idea that you're fooling the audience into believing something's real. That guy really believed it.
Oh my God, that was great. Where did you find that?
It was a clip on Instagram Jack sent me.
Oh, that's awesome. That is so awesome. Thank you, Jack, for that.
Yeah, so I love that guy.
I would never have known about that.
And his little kid was probably like 9 years old in the shot when they're
9 years old watching Alien.
I know, it's funny.
For the first time.
Anything else, Joseph?
I mean, I don't want to go on too much longer, but like immersion is a big thing, and there was an Alien ride in Disney World, like Orlando. That was like one of the most terrifying rides I ever went on. I was a lot younger, but they eventually changed it to a Lilo and Stitch ride.
Yeah, same thing. It's an alien.
Yeah,
and it was a xenomorph, or it looked exactly like a xenomorph, and it's almost like just like a simulator where you're in a room with everybody else, and you're just sitting around this like teleporter thing, like a glass tube teleporter thing in the middle. And they're like the people of the ship are playing on screens like, we're gonna teleport the captain over to you guys, and then they teleport over an alien, a xenomorph.
Oh no!
And then the lights,
oh my God,
and everything like turn off and flicker, and then the lights turn off with the alien in there, and then you hear a glass shattering, and then it like scurries away into the.
Oh my God!
And then the scariest part of that is that on each of the chairs, they had like these air tubes that would blow on the back of your neck.
Yeah, those are awesome. Love
As if the alien was right behind you.
Oh my God,
it was
so cool.
It was so terrifying.
I bet.
But I miss it. I mean, I only went out once because it scared the shit out of me. But I like to go.
I miss it.
I like to go on
the shit out of me.
I'd like to go on it again, see if it holds up. But it's not there anymore. So.
Yeah, I want to do the same thing with the Honey, I Shrunk the Kids ride. There's a lot of interactive air and water and stuff there too.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I know. Going off topic, the Bugs Life thing, the Bugs Land theater thing, which is not there anymore, replaced by Marvel Land, I think.
Lame.
Lame.
Yeah, I think so.
Anyway. All right. Alien Romulus, as practical as possible. There's probably still going to be CG in it.
Oh yeah,
to some degree.
plenty.
But
I think we should do an
Cool.
episode on that movie.
Yeah, let's do it.
I don't think
field
so.
trip. Nope, no interest.
All right, cool.
Okay, cool. So my story. Did you guys know that Denis Villeneuve has a little brother?
I did not.
And he's a working director also.
What's his name?
Martin Villeneuve.
Martin.
10 years younger.
Martin.
No,
Martin.
Well, I don't think so. That's Spanish, not French Canadian. But yeah, Martin Villeneuve.
Martin.
So I'm going to read a little bit about him. He's a Montreal-based screenwriter, director, producer, and actor. His comic book, La Vol du Tonnerre, and his graphic novels, Mars and April, volumes 1 and 2, were released to critical acclaim. So he's like a comic book creator, sci-fi fantasy. Martin then worked for 10 years as a creative director in advertising, creating campaigns for Cirque du Soleil shows Zumanity, Ka, and Corteo. He also directed TV commercials for Cirque du Soleil, but his love is in film. So his big one that he released in 2012 was called Mars in April, based on of his graphic novel. And it's been it's got a lot of buzz. He has that project has been subtitled in 33 different languages, and it has he's got TED Talks about apparently his sci-fi creations or whatever. Really interesting. But his upcoming project is called Merciless, and this is what it says. When the woman he loves is overtaken by a malevolent force, a top CIA interrogator is willing to go even darker to defeat it. Directed by Martin Villeneuve, starring Jonathan Majors. This is his first movie.
Oh, problematic Jonathan
Yes,
Majors.
his first movie role since he's been convicted of assault and harassment sometime a couple years ago.
Oh no,
It was like last year.
Was it last year?
I think that's when it was happening.
You're right. It is 2023. So I just think this is kind of interesting because the idea of cancel culture and having irredeemable sort of things within the separating the art from the artist and all this kind of stuff it's a topic that I think is valid for discussion. And I don't know the specifics about Jonathan Majors, but he's essentially been blacklisted. He let's see here. Yeah, he was known for his roles in Creed 3, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, and he was dropped from Marvel Cinematic Universe after his conviction.
Yeah.
He's already starred in several Marvel series as the King the Conqueror, who was poised to become the franchise's next primary villain. Additionally, he filmed this movie called Magazine Dreams, which, like the Marvel Studios, is a studio of Walt Disney Studios. Walt Disney Studios. It was premiered at Sundance Film Festival to positive reviews, and the filmmakers are reportedly shopping around to find new distributors because he was dropped. That was dropped by Searchlight Pictures as well. So at the fourth annual Hollywood Unlocked Impact Awards, which I've never heard of before. Hollywood Unlocked Impact Awards. Never heard of it before. It was on June 21st of just recently, and Majors was given the Perseverance Award.
Thanks for sticking it out.
Which is a award that is
Perseverance.
It's a award that is for an individual who has shown that no matter what adversity they face, they will continue to aspire to inspire.
Oh my god!
Wait, who runs this? Is this a Weinstein Award?
I have no idea.
Weinstein Award ceremony.
It really sounds like very right wingy.
Well, it's really funny because that award, if you take the actual verbiage from the website that says an individual who has shown that no matter what the adversity they face, they will continue to aspire to inspire. I would think that would be somebody that like Jeremy Renner, he got in that terrible quad accident and broke his spine or something.
Yeah.
And then came back 2 years later.
No, it was like a
snowmobile,
tractor.
Snowmobile or something like that.
Yeah, snowmobile or something like
but
that.
It's that's a person that's overcoming adversity to come back to it. Not a dude that beat his girlfriend
Michael
up.
J. Fox.
Yeah, Michael J. Fox overcoming Parkinson's to stay in front of the camera. So
Yeah.
it's a very strange turn of events, and I'm gonna be kind of following this because it's a weird thing. It's like he's getting a shot back at his first feature, but it ain't the guy who's doing it, Martin Villeneuve, he's like the baby brother of a famous director, and all the movies that he's done have been like weird sci-fi shorts and indie stuff. He hasn't had a major feature in a while, and nothing that's come to acclaim since I think 11 or 12 years.
Yeah.
So it's kind of gross, what's happening.
It's like Kevin Spacey crying that he has to move from his Rhode Island house.
Oh God, yeah, that fucking clip.
Yeah, I don't.
Because he's like, where am I gonna go? Yeah.
I'm gonna get a fucking job like the rest of us assholes.
What am I gonna do?
Yeah.
Zero. I have zero money.
Yeah. Boo.
Like,
$0.
There's like there's no way that he has $0.
Tyler, get on that mic.
There's no way he has $0. There's no way.
I
hate it when
living in excess. That'll do that.
Yeah.
I hate it when these rich assholes say I'm broke, but they have like $5.5 million in their bank account right now. Like, come on.
They're broke and our broke are two different things.
Yeah, that's true.
True.
So a couple stuff in the chat. Heather says ugly is the really great word for it. I agree with that as far as the whole Jonathan Majors thing and coming back. Jack says, to be fair, we had to get through like the early stages to get where we are today, but to be optimistic.
He's talking about
CG. Yeah, he's talking about the shitty CGI of like the prequels.
Oh yeah. There's a whole conversation going on about the prequel trilogy.
Yeah. Jeremy Renner was on the verge of death. It was a snowplow is what it was.
That's what it was.
He got run over by the
I think it was his
snowplow.
knee or something, but like obviously he was
very
much
how terrifying
close
that
to
would be.
death. He was.
How
I think it was like
terrifying.
he like saved somebody, like he saved like a kid or something, like his niece.
Oh, interesting.
I thought
He actually performed his Marvel role.
Yeah.
Hey, Geiger's in the chat.
He shot
Chris.
arrows at the snowplow.
Yeah. Chris Geiger in the chat. What's up, Chris? He says, it was the same piece of equipment you see them driving away in at the end of The Shining. That's a fucking huge piece of equipment.
That is a huge, oh my God. Yeah, I can't even imagine the pain.
So we're going to start the petition now. We're going to remove the petition to remove the Perseverance Award from Jonathan Majors and give it to Jeremy Renner.
Yeah.
Okay.
When did that happen?
Jeremy Renner thing?
No. The awards.
June 21st, like
literally
like a week ago.
Yesterday.
Okay, yeah.
Today's
No,
the
it was
22nd.
It must have been. I heard about
Friday.
this. I heard about this a week ago.
So then it had last year.
But they were probably announcing it. No, it just happened. They were announcing it before the actual award ceremony, I guess. So, anyways, yeah, that's coming out. Movie's called what's the movie called?
Merciless.
Merciless. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know if I should be looking forward to that.
It's more like a trash fire or like a train wreck or something.
Interesting that Martin Villeneuve.
Yeah.
Martin Villeneuve is doing that and got Majors. I don't know. Maybe he's just because he is like the younger, and like less experienced and prolific director. He's like, here, you get the cheap people who are either no one knows who they are or they're problematic.
Yeah, maybe. So WME agencies who represents Jonathan Majors and one of their producers, Christopher Tuffin, says his goal is to make a project that, quote, refuses to let the court of public opinion and selective prosecution undermine great art and artists.
Oh my God.
Yeah. In graduate school, I had the good fortune of studying screenwriting under blacklist scribe Millard Lample and learned from him the dangers of letting politics undermine due process and deprive artists of their careers, said Tuffin. I consider an honor and a privilege to be working with Jonathan, who is such a great talent, now that this matter has been adjudicated. So I guess my real question is, we have the legal system in place, right?
Well, our legal system.
We have our legal system in place. And someone is tried and found innocent, which in this case he was not. He was found guilty.
Right.
But they tried and found innocent, and the evidence was overwhelmingly saying that he was innocent, or this person was innocent, a fictitious person. Do we then say, okay, all is forgiven? Is that the right thing to do, or are we supposed to hold on to that sort of, ooh, I heard that he beat his wife up?
It depends. It's
Depends,
contextual.
How much do you like him?
I think that,
Well, I mean, like how piece of a shit of the wife was.
Okay, Tyler. I'm muting your mic.
This guy is a piece of shit. No, I just
That's
I
my
think
wife.
no, that was of course that was a joke. I don't condone any assault.
Yeah,
on
but did
any,
she deserve
party. But I think the
But
fact
did
of
she
the
have
matter,
the dinner ready? That's the real question.
Yeah, but was dinner cold?
Tyler, why would you
was
say
a-
these things?
it was lukewarm.
That's not what
okay?
that's not.
No, I think it really comes down to it's an individual case by case sort of thing. So let's say this individual he beat his wife. Was he going through like some sort of addiction? Like he was in his right state of mind? I'm not saying it's justified that he did it, but if he tries to atone for his sins,
That's kind of where I
then-
come down on it. Is like in this case, Jonathan Majors.
like, do you feel sympathy for what you did?
Well, yeah, but also like what's his name? Michael Vick, dogfighting ring.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
After he in his mind, in his words from that whole era, he was like, "This was just like part of my upbringing. This is like in my circle of friends and my family. This is what we did. I never thought it was as bad as what you guys are saying it is. Now that I've been shown the way, I'm a wipe myself from all those dogfighting sins, and now I'm going to be an activist for." Animal rights and, cruelty against animals, blah, 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 all that stuff. And it's like, do you believe that? Or do you say, okay, the dude paid his due. He's atoned for his sins, like you said, Tyler. He's paid his debt to society, and then like back in. If someone goes to jail and they do 20 years and they get out, are we supposed to treat them as different than everybody else?
No, that's not that. Well, I mean, that's not what I was saying.
Like the dude paid, if I'm just saying in 20 years of hard time, it's like the dude paid his debt. Shouldn't you give them the option to reintegrate into society, or do you just always treat them like a felon or a guy who beat up his girlfriend or whatever?
I mean,
at that point, it becomes
for myself. It's the more spiritual aspect of it.
Like, well, we don't know. We don't know
do-
the spiritual aspect. I'm just talking about our legal system.
Oh,
You're not going to know that because you don't know his heart.
I guess the question is like,
screw the legal system.
how much apologizing, forgiving, like what does a person have to do to be forgiven? I guess for something like that.
I mean, I don't think forgiveness. I don't think forgiveness is.
But that's Tyler. Hold on.
And it's also dependent on everybody's level or threshold of like.
Getting really philosophical right now.
Everyone's threshold of like, okay, I accept your apology is different.
Yeah,
it's like some people are like, no, I'll never forgive you for being a dog fighter.
Yeah,
and
that's fine.
And there are people who are like, well, he is trying. He like literally is now doing the polar opposite of what he was doing. So he's definitely trying and he's making an effort. And that's forgivable.
And I think that the reality is this producer is trying to say, well, we're not going to let the court of public opinion reduce us or whatever. You put it in the market, you are going to the court of public opinion, which is fine. It's like if people watch Jonathan Majors in something and they go, I'm not watching that fucking movie. It's like, I won't give that movie my money, period. I'm not going to watch it. So, or I should say, I'm not going to pay to watch it. So it's one of those things. It's like court of public opinion will be the deciding factor in it. Are they gonna waste millions of dollars to make this movie and then it's gonna make nothing because they have a piece of shit in the lead? Maybe. Yeah. I guess we'll wait to see how it plays out.
And then obviously like beating your wife, like people still listen to Chris Brown. And
Yes. Sorry, like I don't know what to say.
People like still go to his concerts. People are still having him on, their tracks. And
but he's a great singer, dude. Great.
People still listen to Michael Jackson. People like still, people still do a bunch of stuff, even though
a lot of great conversation in the chat right now. So if you're on the podcast and you're not in the YouTube, go to our YouTube channel. Check it out. If you watch the live stream, you can see the past chat, or just get in for the next one. Every Saturday at 12:30, we're streaming live. So we're not going to spend any more time with this because we're already behind schedule.
And we have no answers.
Exactly. You know what? We're just holding up a mirror to society, man. Well, I'm not trying to give you answers. I just want you to think.
Exactly.
So, anyways, let's get to some streaming picks.
Movies.
Want to watch a movie?
Yes, I do.
Disney Plus. Oh, HBO Max.
If I don't get the pick, show's over.
I have grown accustomed to Hulu Plus.
Amazon Prime.
I like Netflix.
You found the
Streaming picks, movies that we watched this week that you can watch on your services too. The Tyler, what do you got today?
Regale us.
Well,
Come
Pete,
on.
you're calm down, Joseph.
Let's go. I want to hear.
Calm down. So Pete, you're gonna like this one. I
Okay.
chose your streaming pick from a couple of weeks ago. 2023's American Fiction.
Oh, all right,
okay.
cool.
Oh my God, I fell in love with this movie.
Good.
I rated it 5 stars on Letterboxd. Would
great.
you like to drop that sound to read?
Tyler reads his own letterboxd reviews. This is me, myself, and Tyler.
All right.
All right. American Fiction 2023. The story of this film really paints a picture of someone who's tortured by the standard of the market that he does not agree with. The articulate way of all the lines being said was pleasing to the ear, and the story was compelling to the point I was wanting more to explore this white dominant industry of the literary world. This movie is nearly 2 hours, and if you know me, it's hard to keep my attention after an hour and 45. I laughed and I wept, and overall gave me a really good feeling in the end. Which, by the way, the ending was perfectly done. I would highly suggest this as a requirement for anyone who is a fan of cinema. Grade A+. End of report.
All right,
Okay.
A+.
Jesus Christ. That's what I said. End of report. Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
I should have said. God damn it! I should have said amen.
Amen. Amen. Okay.
Amen.
All right, we'll fix it in post.
I loved American Fiction so
Good.
much. Like the
You see what happens? See what happens when you watch our movies that we recommend?
Yeah, we're trying. What we're doing here, we're trying to be a service, not just to
Hey.
the listeners, but also to Tyler.
well, look, I'm trying to do better.
No, it's good, man.
but
I'm
yeah,
really glad you enjoyed it. That one blew me away. I thought the hype was valid.
Well, so like the reason why I liked it so much too is because like you can see the way that he didn't want to throw away his culture because he grew up in Boston and everything like that, and it felt like in the beginning of the movie he was trying to escape away from his blackness. And so when he saw this book, and I thought that the book, I can't remember what it was. It was something. Do you remember, Pete? What the book was called?
I forgot. I remember it was clever, and then I just forgot. I couldn't remember it when I gave my review either.
And so, like, I thought that was gonna be. I mean, it was kind of like in the background, but it definitely played a little bit of a part. But it was more about this guy's life. Like he started becoming disillusioned, like with himself, and he didn't even like know what to teach in his class.
Mm-hmm.
He would say these very controversial things. He called a German student a Nazi. Or no, he didn't call him a Nazi. He asked him if his family was a Nazi.
Yeah.
And he was obviously a very well-read and intelligent man.
Mm-hmm.
And the actor, who was the actor? Hold on, I have the page up right here. Jeffrey Wright.
Mm-hmm.
He was he emoted very well about this person's struggle, and some of the tragedies that happen in this movie were really gut-wrenching. And it wasn't gut-wrenching in the sense that like it was like the main focal point, because it was just like a matter of fact of life.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't, that wasn't the main focal point. The whole point was his struggle, like trying to like find his identity. And I really love the idea of him doing the pseudonym for his book because he was making a joke essentially.
Yeah.
And then he made $4 million off of it.
I know it was like a slap in the face or a joke that just got took off, and he's like, wait,
Yeah.
no,
He
don't like this. I want you to not like this.
Yeah, and I got his point too. And it was a very, very real movie about the state of our society today.
I have a review from Joe Bridges on this movie. He He's stingy with his 4.5 and 5-star reviews or 4-star reviews. And he gave this one 4 stars. He says, it's pretty genius to have a movie about pandering to an audience by openly pandering.
See, and you know what? That's actually a really great point.
It's a great point.
I thought the same thing as well.
It's weird because the whole main plot is about this pandering to society and white, capitalizing on white guilt and whatnot. But at the same time, you're like, should I be enjoying this? Should I feel like I'm part of the problem with all this? And then you're like, no, rejected that.
I'm good.
I'm the good. I'm one of the good ones.
Yeah.
It's a very complex. Forces you to have very complex feelings about it.
And I didn't feel that way. But one of my, what, I'm gonna say this. This movie.
Please say this.
This movie freaking edged me because there is a couple of scenes. So like there was the conversation in the conference room between the author that he despised.
Yeah, that was a great conversation.
I thought that was gonna go a little bit further, and then that point of edging, because like you want to like see like this deep conversation between this like literary genius essentially, and with this other person who's like essentially the polar opposite. He's more academic, and she's academic as well, but in like
she's
a different
capitalistic
style.
Yeah,
and so
money, please.
And so I was hoping for something more than that, but I liked it because it didn't give you what you wanted.
Great.
And so it leads me to the ending where he has made this movie deal, and they show you like multiple different endings.
Hey, don't spoil anything for anybody.
I'm not going to spoil it. I'm just saying
you're already there.
Saying that there's multiple different
you're already there. Let people discover it with their naturally.
Oh my God, I didn't even know that.
Anyways, it's an incredible movie that's streaming on Amazon Prime.
Beautiful.
Okay.
Definitely check that out. It is a high recommendation.
Cool.
And
More?
I didn't finish the Fallout series yet, but I started. If anyone is aware, the new The Boys season came out.
Here we go.
What do you mean? Here we go. What is that? What is that even supposed to mean? Not a fan.
No, it's just you're stream picking an episode of a show, probably.
Well, I was going to stream an episode, but you know what? I'm just gonna say, you know what? F it. No, fine. That's it.
I also read a pamphlet about aluminum siding. That was pretty interesting. If you can find that somewhere, it's
You
worth the read.
You progressed on Fallout though. Did you watch?
No, I haven't. I haven't.
You haven't watched past the first episode?
Remember, it was self-contained. You didn't need to watch more.
Oh yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. Like it just, I don't know. I've been reading a lot more recently, actually.
Cool.
What
are you reading?
Mein Kampf.
No, I'm reading Thomas Ligotti's The Conspiracy Against the Human Race, a contrived...
The True Detective book.
That sounds like an interesting book.
The True Detective book. That's
Why do you say that?
Isn't that what it's based on? It's based on that, isn't it?
Yes. It's good.
That's okay. That's okay.
I've been also
brand.
reading Charles Bukowski as well.
Oh, play the comedy music.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, that's it. I'm done.
That's
God
okay.
Damn it, Joseph.
I mean,
why did you have to call me out on that?
It's okay. It's okay. I mean,
What do you mean?
Because like I read Dune. I read the whole book of Dune after watching the movies, and then so like it's not crazy.
It makes sense. It's on brand.
And I've learned that like I can't really read books that aren't movies because
That's a drop right there.
Because yeah, it is. I can't really read because like I'm a movie guy, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So like I already have like the lore, and a lot of people will be like, I can't read books before I see the movie because I don't want the preconceived
Watch the
notion.
movie, then read the book.
Like preconceived notion of like what the characters look like and stuff like that. But that doesn't bother me because that's because I like movies more than I like books. So.
Me and Brianna read. We watched. What was it? Oh, The Island. Michael Bay's not Michael Bay's. Alex Garland's Island.
No, The Beach.
Danny Boyle. I'm sorry. Alex Garland. Yeah, the Beach. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Danny Boyle directed it.
Did he? Who directed The Beach?
I'm getting myself mixed up.
Who directed The Beach?
Oh, fuck, I don't.
What, Leonardo?
Alexa. No.
With Leonardo DiCaprio.
Leonardo DiCaprio. Garland wrote it. That's what it is. No connection of Boyle.
Okay.
But she read the book, and then she's watching it. She goes, no. That's supposed to be James McAvoy. That's supposed to be James McAvoy. In my head, it is, and not Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah. When we eventually do the Dune things, I have opinions on movie adaptations.
Okay, cool.
And books.
Okay, you good, Tyler?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Before we get to Joseph, we have messages in the chat.
Quite a bit of viewers here.
How many we got live right now?
We got 11 viewers right now.
Oh, cool.
I know that's not a high number, but for us.
That's big numbers for us, baby. Double digits.
Got some new faces in here. Big Red Dal.
Yeah, that's Dallas.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. What's up, Dallas?
I don't think I've ever seen your name in here, though.
I think just the one time who popped up.
And then Angry Otter's back.
Yeah. What's up, buddy?
From 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I don't know if he was there last week.
Yeah, send us a message. He's got a project, or he or she's got a project that they've got to release. So Joe Bridges says about American Fiction, I like that they picked Oberlin College in Ohio for her alma mater as a well-known college in Ohio that no one takes seriously because only weird artists go there.
Nice.
And then on the topic of reading, Joe Bridges says, I just read Wet Hot Allosaurus Summer. Seriously. It's pretty filthy, but it's also hilarious.
Wet Hot Allosaurus Summer.
Like Wet Hot American Summer, I guess.
It's a dinosaur.
Okay.
And then Jack says he's very slowly trying to read
Dexter.
Oh, that's a hard read.
Really?
That is a hard read.
Oh, interesting.
Just because it can get cringy very fast.
Very erotic.
It's
All right,
you just
all right, Joseph. Your turn.
Okay. Those movies that I watched. All right. I got some interesting selections here. First, I want to talk about a documentary that anyone can watch because it's on YouTube. This was directed by a YouTuber known as iDubbbz.
Oh, yeah.
And this is Ice Cream Man. And this is about a guy who goes by the name of Dax Flame.
Did you talk about this early on in the run of the show?
I might have.
It's been a while, but it sounds familiar.
Dax Flame.
Dax Flame, who is he started on YouTube like years ago, like early YouTube, and he made all these really strange videos because you weren't sure if he was doing a bit or if that's how he is, and that's how he still is. And he in this documentary he works at an ice cream shop currently in LA. And so iDubbbz and spends like a week with him and just like talks to him, tries to learn about him, tries to figure him out if he is being genuine or
iDubbbz,
or if he's putting on a bit, like an Andy Kaufman type thing.
Oh, okay.
And he's not like offensive or anything. He's very awkward and polite, like overly polite. And they do this. They entertain Dax Flame's idea of a game show called that centers around smoothies.
Okay.
And I can't remember the name of the game show, but they just get two people off of Craigslist, like this, actually no, he goes on Hollywood Boulevard and just like cold calls people. Like he just like talks to random people. It's like, hey, would you like to be a part of a game show where you make a smoothie?
Okay.
And then they're like, a lot of people are like, what? Like they're so confused about that at premise. But he gets like this guy, this like young guy who like, I think he like just got to LA and he just wants to make like $100. And they get like the housekeeper that is at the Airbnb to participate. And the rules of the game show are just and they present it to you like it's its own video. And he's like, so you guys will pick 3 ingredients. We have a bunch of ingredients back there. and you just pick 3 ingredients, and I'll tell you what I like. And because they're making this movie,
This is what this all about. Is about
that's just one part
movies?
of the whole documentary, but
Sounds fascinating.
it is so funny. It is.
Is it
like,
really funny?
It's because he is so weird.
Okay.
He's so awkward.
I don't have any context for the character, so I don't know.
So this guy, he's been in some movies. He was in Project X, and he was in 21 Jump Street. He plays. I don't know his character's name in the movies, but he's like one of the students in the high school in 21 Jump Street. I don't know how prominent his role is.
Yeah, I know what this is now. Seeing his face. Dax Flame.
But it's not even an hour long. It's so interesting. And my review of it is the most fascinating man in America. Because
I thought that was me.
because
Sacramento.
Because he currently has a TikTok that I'll get fed, and it's just him in like a Target, like just like doing like these random games that he comes up with, or like saying these like really, really like stupid jokes and being as awkward as possible.
Okay, hold on.
No. And the joke is that it's just like it's hard to watch.
It's cringe.
It's hard to watch, like his content.
Is it cringe?
It is cringy, but it's also hilarious.
Okay,
to me,
so it's
anyway.
hilarious cringe. It's like on purpose cringe.
Yeah, but you can't. You just don't know if he's doing it on purpose. If he's putting on this personality on purpose, because that's just how he lives.
Was it like Scary Perry sort of thing?
That's kind of what I was thinking.
No,
you can't tell if he's in on it or not.
He's likable. He's more likable than Scary Perry.
He's not homophobic and sexist and whatnot.
No.
Okay. Well, good.
Yeah. So that's on YouTube. Anyone can watch that. I caught up with The Harder They Fall, streaming on Netflix.
Hell yeah.
I didn't like it as much as probably you did.
Son of a bitch.
Why don't you stop talking for a while?
It was entertaining. The story was pretty simple. My gripes with the movie wasn't the story or the performances or anything like that, because like it was all great and it looks great. I just thought it like felt really clean. It felt too clean for a Western movie, and it didn't have any grit to it. The music also really took me out. The very modern take on the soundtrack.
Do you feel that way with something like Django, where Tarantino puts in some Rick Ross?
That does take me out of that as well.
I know that's a super polarizing decision to do a period piece and then have modern.
Yeah. Same with the Elvis movie. Having Doja Cat was annoying on that soundtrack.
I love Doja Cat though,
but it didn't fit in an Elvis movie where it fits.
I fucking loved it. I loved that.
Yeah.
I thought I was gonna hate Elvis, and I loved it, and the modern music in it.
Yeah.
So maybe that's just a me thing. Now I know
it takes
what I like.
me out of it. The production design at times felt like a stage play, because the town it felt like the fake town in Blazing Saddles. It felt very cookie cutter buildings, like houses in suburbs, like modern developments. There were definitely moments of the movie that I thought were written well or had a good amount of tension, but I was like left with just like a little bit of wanting more. But it was still pretty good.
Okay. Well, good. I'm glad you liked it.
I watched it on Netflix.
Yeah.
I watched a really compelling another documentary that is a more serious subject matter, streaming on Hulu and Disney Plus, centering around the soccer team full of kids who got trapped in a cave in Thailand.
Oh shit! Yeah.
This is a Nat Geo doc, and it's called The Rescue. And I gave this 5 out of 5 stars just because of not necessarily of like how the documentary was made, but just the feat of these cave divers and like what they had to do to be able to get these kids who are so deep in this cave that's like completely flooded. How they had to get these kids out safely without any of them drowning.
How do they get in? The kids?
It was the cave flooded during a monsoon, and I assume it just wasn't flooded when they walked in.
Oh, they just walked in there, and now all of a sudden it's flooded.
Yeah, because like water also seeped through the cave walls, like through the mountain.
Oh wow!
And they even tried pumping out the water, but it was like they would get like a few millimeters in like 2 days out of
Did they
like
die?
constant pumping. No, they don't die.
Well, good.
I mean,
happy ending.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they should have.
Oh my god,
edgelord over here.
I'm just kidding. Okay, you know what? No, yeah.
Super edgy.
Someone does die, but none of the kids, and it's very tragic because everyone's trying to help. Everyone's trying to like figure it out because no one knows how to do this other than these two cave divers who do it as a hobby.
Like a hobby?
Yes.
Wow. What a hobby.
Because the Navy SEALs are not trained for this type of experience.
Like
so they're like
evacuation.
Yeah, they're not. They're
rescue.
Yeah, these
Yeah.
two guys from England are like they just do it as a hobby. They go cave diving as a hobby, and which is insane, right? They talk about how like why would you want to do that? Like why would you do that as a hobby? Like I don't want to go spelunking. I don't want to go crawl through a cave. I don't want to do that.
Well, I mean, like it's in the same vein of skydiving.
Sort of. I would be, if I were given an option, I would go skydiving.
Me too. If you die from that, it's very quick. if you die, except for like the last 2 minutes of the fall, and you're like, I'm gonna die.
I'm gonna die, and then
you're dead.
Yeah, it gets very emotional.
Really,
towards the end, because like you're just watching all these like the parents of these kids. All they can do is stand outside the cave.
Wait a minute, there's filming? This is live film? Like
there's a bunch of live footage. It's a documentary. Like the cave divers had a camera on them while they were filming, while they were diving. And it is insane when they show you how far in these kids are and like where they start. There's essentially checkpoints that they get to in the cave.
It's like the underground level in Donkey Kong Country.
That's exactly what they say that in the movie.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
This is just like the underwater Mario level.
Wow, I had no idea.
Cool.
But yeah, it was really, really good and such an achievement. Like, I don't know if you guys want to know like what they had to do to get the kids out.
No, let's leave it for the
because I was like, oh my god. And then the thing,
what did they have? Were their limbs cut off? Like,
yeah, they cut off the limbs.
Did they become human pillows to survive?
Yeah,
that's not the right one.
Yeah, it was. What are you doing?
I'm trying to find the music for the underwater.
Yeah, and then because no one else could do it, it's like they have like a moral obligation to do it, even if it means risking their own lives to save these kids, because no one else can do it.
Mm-hmm.
That actually sounds very interesting. That's on Disney Plus, right? Because Nat Geo.
It's on Hulu and Disney Plus. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
The Joe Bridges says that Ron Howard made a documentary about the same thing called 13 Lives. That was really fantastic.
Oh yeah, I heard about that one.
Here it is. This is the.
Wait, why do I sicken you, Jack? I'm confused.
Maybe Joe Bridges.
Oh, okay.
There's two Josephs.
Why does he sicken you? Tragic that none of the kids don't die? What are you talking about?
That was Tyler.
Oh, okay. But then he said, whatever. Okay. Twister, speaking of natural disasters, I watched Twister.
Oh, no shit. Cool.
That's streaming?
No. I had to rent it. Okay. Unfortunately.
You rented it?
Yeah. Because like the Twister's coming out, I'm like kind of interested in that, so I wanted to watch Twister, and Twister's like a classic movie.
Yeah,
I think, right?
Sure.
It's considered
a classic genre movie.
Classic movie.
Yeah.
It's a creature feature with a tornado with stalking them.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's what Bill Paxton wanted. That was his dying wish.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It was a good like natural disaster movie, like a single natural disaster movie.
Super fun.
It kind of like it takes a little bit to ramp up, like, but it does it gets there. Like in the last third of the movie, it was very like tense and scary. And when the tornado just appears behind the drive-in theater, I was like, this is like a horror movie right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was good, and I didn't expect the sort of like divorce love story thing happening.
It's an interesting side component.
A lot of people from
this was your first time watching this?
Yeah.
Wow.
It was a couple people who appear in Seinfeld in this movie, like his Bill Paxton's
comes back to Seinfeld.
Always.
Bill Paxton's
is like crew
fiance. Like she's in.
Oh yeah, she is. You're right. Yeah.
She's the one who doesn't want to give. She doesn't want to spare Square to Elaine.
Yes.
And then the Bill Paxton and Philip Seymour Hoffman, both deceased actors in this movie, which was crazy to see. I thought the suck zone was going to be taken more seriously, but it's played for laughs.
Yeah, it is.
So,
he's the goofy character.
Yeah. But yeah.
The suck zone.
That was fun. That was a fun movie.
Cool.
I am excited for Twisters.
Yeah.
Because of Twister. Just like, not for like, I don't think it's going to be a good movie, but it just looks like.
It'll be a fun movie.
Just looks fun.
It'll be
Yeah.
fun.
And then I rewatched Starship Troopers.
Yes.
My last viewing of Starship Troopers, my rating went down on it. Like I felt like every time I watched it, it like went down.
Why?
I don't know. It just didn't hit me those times. But I watched it again because I just wanted to have something on. I didn't want to necessarily have to pay attention the whole time. But yeah, went back up. Super fun movie. Super fun movie. Like it's more funny. That I find it more funny than anything. And I did find it pretty funny in its ridiculousness and the fact that all these are adults and not high schoolers.
I know.
Oh, and
A stray laser killed your father.
and speaking also of Casper Van Dien and tornado movies, he has appeared in a bunch of like B-rate terrible tornado movies for some reason.
Casper Van Dien, his name has been associated with B schlock for a while now.
He's in like 2 different tornado movies. One's like about one's like a fire tornado, and one's about just like a
water tornado,
a standard tornado.
Oh, okay, standard old air tornado.
And I'm like half tempted to put them on the punishment wheel.
Oh, cool, that'd be fun.
Because I was like, what did he do? He just did a series of these natural disaster movies specifically around tornadoes.
Yeah, I guess.
But yeah, Starship Troopers is streaming on Netflix.
Oh, okay, cool.
Then I watched stop motion. I caught up with stop motion. Streaming on Shudder now. Did not like very much.
Bummer.
Didn't think it had much going on for it, other than the stop motion itself.
That was cool. Yeah, it was cool.
But yeah, it felt like they were trying to be like Phil Tippett a lot.
Tippett coincidentally tipped his hat to the director. He said had a little interview with him and said, "Yeah, good shit."
Yeah, but yeah, and then there's a bunch of Disney movies because I was hanging out with my niece. So
okay,
but yeah, that's all I got.
Okay, cool, awesome. All right, my streaming picks. I'm going to start with let's see, worst to best. I've been doing that lately. I'm going to continue the trend, and I committed to watch one of Tyler's streaming picks if I hadn't seen it before, even though this movie is officially not streaming. I had to rent it. I still watched it because it's a blind spot for me, and it is the worst of the week. It's Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Oh no! Oh no!
Yeah, not good.
Why?
No,
Why?
I don't like this. It's like a cool guy's, like a guy who's like hooked on drugs or like a druggy burnouts version of. Isn't this so funny? Aren't we the coolest people in the world? Aren't we like the main character? That it's like people being around people like that is really in real life just a fucking drain. It's a fucking they're a blight on society. And the whole movie, though, as I'm watching them do these things, I'm just thinking about all the other people that are around them having to deal with their bullshit. I'm like, this stinks. Bonus points for Terry Gilliam being Terry Gilliam. And just this pure bizarre absurdity of it all. So I liked that part of it, but like the story's not particularly good. There's no really A to B plot there. I mean, there is.
It's not supposed to be. It's supposed to be a hazy ride.
That's great. Didn't like it. I liked this.
I don't like that you didn't like it.
That's fine.
I thought you would like it. I really did. I thought I did. I thought I would too. Guillermo del Toro.
That's Benicio del Toro, my guy.
Oh, Benicio del Toro.
Benicio. There you go. Get on that mic, Tyler.
I am on the mic.
You sound like you're in a cave.
I don't.
I know your head is spinning right now. Your world is crumbling.
It is. It really is. It really is.
I like the supporting cast. Let's see who's in this. Richard Ryle. He makes a small appearance. Gary Busey, Debbie Reynolds, Steve Sherpa, Ben Yeager, Penn Jillette,
Pendulette.
Cameron Diaz
The
for a hot
magician?
second. Yeah.
Wow.
And
No Teller, huh?
no, he wasn't in
No,
it.
come in
And
pairs.
Hunter S. Thompson himself was in it.
No, I didn't think he was alive.
There's a flashback. Yeah, there's a flashback to like his character imagining what he was doing in the 70s in acid trip land or whatever, and he sees himself in a club, and then he looks over and he goes, "And there was another version of myself there. Look at him, looking at me," and it was Hunter S. Thompson. It was like Johnny Depp and Hunter S. Thompson in the same shot, and then he was like walking by him, looking at me. So there was some pretty inventive stuff, though. I could not connect on this. Could not connect.
Was there anything you did like?
Yeah, all the stuff I just mentioned, the supporting characters and the creativity and stuff. But just the two mains are so fucking draining. And the problem is too, there's a lot of great one-line segments in this. Like I've seen the quote, "We can't stop here. It's backcountry."
Right.
It's funny, or whatever. It's kind of funny.
Oh yeah, that's right. Chris Geiger says in the chat about Tobey Maguire making an appearance.
Oh yeah, Tobey Maguire for sure. With the great bald cap with a stringy wig.
Yeah. That was a good.
Chris also says, "I'm a huge fan of Fear and Loathing. That being said, it's boring and I don't like it."
God damn it.
Is he a fan of the book and not a fan of the movie?
I feel like I'm the only person.
Oh, interesting.
I'm the only person within our circle
Our zip code.
of podcasters that I am the one who enjoys this movie the most. I love this movie.
Does anybody like this movie?
Chad Wilfong, he listens to the show. He likes it. David Rosen from Piecing It Together, he likes it.
I mean, fun fact though, Johnny Depp, he visited Hunter S. Thompson's ranch in Colorado to get into character, and he lived with him for a month.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, Johnny Depp's kind of like it. He's a jackass, but like
Well,
still.
let me finish my thoughts on that. These one-liners, these funny kind of one-liners, they're so you can't even barely catch them without subtitles because there's so much going on in the movie. It's like they're stepping on their own jokes and the chaotic nature of the movie, and it's like I know that was the point. It just didn't land it for me. So. Watch that or don't watch it. I'm glad I finally watched it, but I did not like it.
I might put it on the wheel.
That's great. I won't watch it.
You won't watch
I'll watch it apparently.
Yeah. Okay, so next up, next worst movie of the week. A recent release that's now available for video on demand streaming for $10 rental. Not streaming for free anywhere, but it's worth talking about. This is Tarot, the tarot card horror movie. Yeah. Not good.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
It looks decent. It sounds decent outside of some shoehorned in.
Sounds like Ouija.
Yeah, kind of Ouija Origin of Evil.
But tarot.
Yeah. But Ouija Origin of Evil is like the sequel. It's actually much better than the original. This was not as good as either one of those. So they had some like shoehorned in needle drops on modern songs that were in the movie that the lyrics match up perfectly, but the vibe of the song doesn't match the scene at all. So that was kind of shoehorned in, but the sound design was pretty good. The only problem is that the script is like as generic as it possibly gets. This is like a young adult horror. So if you were 11 years old, you would think this is the creepiest movie. But it's kind of a waste of time to me.
Okay.
So not like the worst. People are saying this is the worst horror movie of the year and it's half star and all that stuff. It's fine. 2.5, 2 stars. I give it 2 on Letterboxd. So,
but did it make sense?
It did. It made sense. But the funny thing too is like Brianna's in the middle of making a tarot card deck from scratch. She's drawing all the different cards, and she's going to produce it and sell it once it happens in her own art style. And so she knows a little bit about tarot, not like a ton, but a little. And the whole time she's like, "That doesn't work like that. That's not what the death card means. You can't just take someone's reading and it's." So it's kind of funny to watch that alongside her. So yeah, tarot. Skip it. Next up.
No problem.
Yeah. Next up, The Beach. I mentioned it before.
Oh, yeah.
This is streaming on Hulu. This is starring...
The Beach.
Yeah. This is starring one... Oh, it is directed by Danny Boyle.
Oh, okay.
Okay, my bad. I guess I wasn't completely off base.
I'm not crazy.
Starring Leonardo DiCaprio, Virginie Ledion, Gualime Canet, people who I haven't heard of before, but also Tilda Swinton.
Oh, yeah. I was like, isn't Sigourney Weaver in this? But no, it's Tilda Swinton.
Tilda Swinton and Robert Carlyle, who plays the father in 28 Weeks Later.
Oh, yeah.
The one that abandons his family.
That's the one.
The beginning.
Yeah, that's the one. Also the main character from The Full Monty. So he's only in it for a short time, but basically the idea of this movie is there's a beach that's somewhere off the coast of Thailand, I think. I think it's Thailand. And it's Thailand. And it's completely cut off from the outside world. It's like this island, but then there's this rock formation that surrounds this like really nice beach. And apparently there's a group of young people, whites, that have taken up taken up like living on this land for the last few years.
The Jared Leto cult.
Kinda, yeah. Except for it's a Tilda Swinton cult.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if she had led a cult.
Yeah, she may not be from.
I would. Okay, we can get into that later.
Yeah, let's talk off air about that. But anyways, so Leo is a young man and he's traveling in Thailand and he hears about this, and he kind of goes, "Well, I don't want to do the regular tourist thing. I'm going to go do this thing." And you have to like swim miles across this channel to get there. No boats are allowed there because it's like a nature reserve, and the Thailand's government protects it. But in reality, there's a group of people, locals, that are growing weed on the island in this half.
Just growing weed.
They're just growing weed out there, and they sell it back to the mainland.
Sounds like a premise for a Far Cry game.
I'm not familiar with that game. But they have this part of the island, and they allow these people to stay on this part of the island as long as no newcomers come in. Well, surprise, newcomers come in, and shit goes bad. So pretty interesting movie. I expected to like it a little bit more. I think the story is interesting. The kind of choppy early Danny Boyle vibe didn't quite always work. It was like a lot of like
just after Trainspotting and everything.
Yeah, it is. But crazy zoom ins and Dutch angles and stuff that were a little jarring and kind of out of place.
When was it?
2000.
2000. Oh, okay. So it still has that 90s flair on it.
I think it's shot on film. Yeah, it's got some good grain to it.
Not on tape.
I mean, I'm looking at the movie poster right now, and it's
I've seen a lot.
No, it came out in 2000.
I've seen parts of this movie. I've seen like a good chunk of it.
Oh, really?
At least. I know it gets real trippy.
Yeah, well, that's what I was told. I was told it turns into this like weird mind fuck, but there's really one part in it where Leo's kind of lost his mind and he's going through the desert, and it turns into this weird video game sort of thing.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, that's kind of weird. But the movie as a whole is not trippy. There's some interesting stuff like, one of the people that's one of the settlers gets injured, and what they decide to do with him is very interesting and was not expected. And where it goes from, that's kind of the jumping off point for the rest of the movie. And it's kind of, I want to say more like the thesis statement of the whole movie is like, we don't give a fuck about you because you're harsh on our vibe. So get out of here. We're trying to have fun. Why are you dying near me?
Get out of here, dude.
So that's The Beach, streaming on Hulu, worth a watch.
Oh, so you did like it?
I did like it, yeah. I just didn't like it as much as I thought, because I was like, Danny Boyle, Alex Garland.
How could you go wrong?
Dream Team's back at it again, but it was fine. It was pretty good.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's funny, Pete, when he said that. I thought you were talking about the M. Night Shyamalan movie.
That's old.
That's old.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I
there is a beach in it.
There is a beach in that one too. The original title of Old was The Beach That Makes You Old. Just kidding.
The beach, and the ugly.
Yeah, not really.
The beach and the ugly.
Okay, next up. Let's see here. Next best. 2002 going up in the years. Another kind of of that era. Also shot on film. This is Pool Hall Junkies.
Oh.
Movie that I thought I'd never seen before, and I got halfway through it and I realized I had absolutely seen this movie before. And I thought it was great. I thought it was delightful. And I understand that this was not a particularly good movie, but I don't care.
Oh, okay.
It's sloppy at times. It's full of cheesy dialogue. It's mostly overacted by the lead actor, who is also the writer and director, who is also a professional pool player. But I still thought it was just delightful. It's a perfect snapshot right in the era of Boondock Saints or something like Go, in that kind of era where it's very gritty, very grainy, and or like Rounders. I think that's the one the Matt Damon one where they're poker players.
Rounders.
rounders.
Yeah.
So this is streaming on Amazon Prime, Freevee, Fubo, Peacock, Plex, Shout TV, Stars, and Tubi. You can get it anywhere. And it's interesting just mainly because it was written and directed and starring this guy who's a professional pool player. So you're kind of thinking, what business does this guy having making a movie? He has the history, but like he's putting himself in front of the camera, he's putting himself behind the camera, and he's writing it. You might think like write the movie, star in the movie because you have to be able to pull off some of these fantastic pool shots or whatever. But he directing it too. And it was directed pretty well. The guy's name is Mars Callahan. Again, I think most people are going to look at... see, Eric's in the chat. He says, all my friends loved Pool Hall Junkies when it came out. I didn't get the appeal. I completely understand why. It's like almost too cool for school. It's like, Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels or Snatch light, but set in America. The second lead in this is Chaz Palminteri, who plays a ton of like gangsters historically. Christopher Walken, Rob Steiger, Ricky Schroeder, and then there's a bunch of other people in it that you might recognize: Philip Glazer, Glenn Palmer, and Richard Portnow. So a lot of people, when you watch the movie, you'll see, oh, I know that guy. That's the guy that plays Lex Luthor in Smallville. And basically the idea is that Mars Callahan's character is an up-and-coming pool player, and he's being groomed by Chaz Palminteri to be a hustler. And the guy actually wants to compete professionally, but Chaz is like, nah, the money's here. You need to be able to hustle. And he becomes a very good pool shark.
Yeah.
And there's a double cross there. They go their separate ways, and they find each other in the end. And it's you're my new apprentice versus my old student sort of thing in the finale. So I thought it was super fun. It's not a serious movie. And there's a line in the movie where he says, they say it like 3 or 4 times when he's trying to talk shit to people in the pool hall, and he goes, oh, I'm sorry, did I stutter? Just a second ago, it was like fucking Showtime in the Apollo and this motherfucker. Now everybody's quiet as a dormouse or something like that. And they say it like 3 or 4 times. In my head, I was like, I know I've heard another character in another movie say that quote before, trying to be cool, and it comes off as very uncool. Because in the movie, it also comes off as very uncool. In like 2002, maybe it was like the coolest thing people had ever heard, but it comes off as very cheesy and overacted. But anyways, Pool Hall Junkies. If it sounds like it's up your alley, watch it. If not, I understand.
Okay.
Okay, next one. Next best movie, The Red Violin. This is also streaming on Amazon Prime, Freevee, Pluto, and Tubi. This is from 1998, and it won best score, I think, or best music or something like that at the Oscars.
Better the name like Red Violin,
dude. It's crazy because this story is really interesting. It's about this violin that was the last violin made.
Not a red violin.
Yeah, it's the last violin that's made by this famous violin maker. So they have Stradivarius in the real world is the most famous violin maker, and then they have it's like Bartolucci or something like that. Busotti is what it is, and he's this other violin maker that's only exists in this movie, and it does an interesting framing device for the storytelling because at the beginning you see the violin and how it's made, and then it cuts to an auction, and the auction is auctioning off this violin some 200 years, 300 years later in modern day. Sam Jackson is in it. Jean-Luc Badeau, Sam Jackson, Greta Shawley, Aldo Brudini. I want to say Sandra Oh is in this too, Wolfgang Bach. A lot of people you would recognize again. And may not know their names. What's his name? Jason Fleming, the redheaded guy from also Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels and League of Extraordinary Gentlemen and a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah.
Wait, not the guy from Dreamcatcher. Not that guy.
No, not that guy. No,
Jonesy.
No, that's not Jonesy. That's somebody else.
Okay.
That's the guy who's the boyfriend in An Unfinished Life.
Is he? Oh yeah, he is.
No, not him.
Okay.
So, anyways, the whole basically the way the story is told is it's showing the birth of this violin, the creation of this violin, and all the people whose lives it touched, and it's cursed. It's a cursed violin.
Oh.
So it gets assigned to this child who's an orphan in a monastery, and they do nothing but teach him how to play violin and his untimely demise and what happens to his life, and then what happens. A gang of gypsies goes and steals the violin from this grave, and it follows them for 100 years. And
So an orphan gets the violin and dies?
Mm-hmm.
How could it get any worse?
Oh,
for an orphan.
Yeah, for an orphan. Yeah, I know it's probably the worst. But it follows basically like hundreds of years of the life of this violin and everybody who comes into ownership of it and how their fate lies. And they're really cool. So there's the story, the framing device of this auction, and all the people who are trying to buy this violin at auction are like descendants of the people who were basically played the violin or have knowledge of that part of the violin's life. You know, I want to buy it because this came out of communist China in, the 40s or whatever. Oh, I want to buy it because it was from this, this famous composer that, would nurture
in the Soviet area.
Yeah,
era.
or whatever it was. So all these people have these different reasons for wanting to buy it. But the real framing device is that every new story at a new point in time in a new part of the world is corresponds with a tarot card.
Tarot cards.
Again, there's a tarot reading of the wife of the violin maker, and she got her tarot card, her tarot reading done right before she gave birth to his child. And all of the doom and gloom that happens in her tarot reading comes back in the storytelling of this cursed violin. So like the Joker card follows the orphan or whatever, and then the death card follows this other violinist or whatever. And each section of the story is like a completely different. It's like an anthology almost. So I thought this was a delightful movie. Delightful. I loved it.
Delightful in what sense? Like anomaly delightful?
No, not like whimsical delightful. I was just it's very well made. The score is like this constant, never stopping violin playing. It's like you never really go without a violin being played. It's like, and the people that are playing it are real violinists. So the kid that's playing the violin, he's a real violinist.
I know it's full of people who have known pictures on IMDb. And Sam Jackson is very low build.
Yeah, I mean he's on a very, very small part.
Is it in a foreign language?
Some parts are, yeah. It's in Chinese, it's in French, it's in
mostly English? Or no?
Half and half, about half and half or so, yeah. But yeah, so when you're watching a music movie, and they're playing guitar, and you can tell they're not strumming along to the music they're supposed to be playing.
Yeah.
Or drums is another thing.
Yeah.
And you watch it, and you're like, that just took me out of it. All of the people that are playing the violin are really playing it.
Yeah.
So it's very cool.
That is cool.
Not like me being in Disneyland watching a parade of a float go by with people playing instruments.
Yeah.
And like, he's hitting the drums, but he's like,
yeah, that's some bullshit.
I'm like, what? You're not even trying.
That's right. So anyway, so that is streaming on Amazon Prime, Freevee, Pluto TV, and Tubi. I would highly recommend to watch that.
Okay.
That's pretty much my last one. I rewatched Godzilla -1.
Oh, okay.
The score, it holds up at home. The score slaps. The characters are complex. The themes are progressive. The kid's cute as fuck. The action has stakes, and Godzilla is thick. So
and it's buoyant.
Yeah,
it's very buoyant.
6 stars out of 5. No notes.
We talk about Mandela.
Oh shit, we didn't talk about Mandela. You want to go on the 3 up?
This crazy, stupid documentary.
We got a screener for this documentary called The Mandela Effect Phenomenon. Okay.
Yes.
Mandela Effect Phenomenon.
Directed by Robert Kiviat.
And this is all about the Mandela Effect. Tyler, you know about the Mandela Effect, right?
Of course.
Something is just different than what you remember, like a logo or the Berenstain Bears.
Yeah, I
is
mean,
a
like
common thing.
the Berenstein Bears.
Common movie misquotes.
And it comes from mainly
cornucopia from the
Fruit of the
Loom.
So it mainly comes from Nelson Mandela. When news of his death reached the world, a huge portion of the population said, I thought that guy died in the 80s.
Yeah.
Right.
And
died in prison.
Died in prison.
Yeah, he died in prison.
And in my head, I'm just like, that's a really simple mistake to make. Americans, particularly in a lot of parts of the world, are not really well learned
They're not privy to on foreign leader,
world affairs,
Yeah.
especially pre-internet. When you get news stories pushed to you every minute of the day. And I just chalk it up as, oh, I could have sworn he died. Cool. Well, I guess he's now dead. Well, that's real sad.
I just found out about him. Now he's dead.
I know. glad he was alive for a while that I didn't know about.
Yeah.
But there's a subsection of people, apparently, people that made and are starring in this documentary.
2 people.
That believe wholeheartedly that this means that there is a parallel dimension and we are in a time loop or some sort of alternative timeline. And the Berenstain Bears exist in a different timeline. And we used to live in the Berenstain Bears timeline. And
But
now
then we switched.
Now we switched somehow, and everyone's mind is blown over this.
Because of a particle accelerator.
CERN, yeah.
Yeah, CERN.
Yeah, CERN.
And they're like, well, maybe it's something they did opened up with tiny black holes and then put us on a different timeline.
And now here we are.
Okay, so is the documentary good though?
No.
Is it compelling?
No.
It's funny.
Is it hilarious?
It's fun to watch because these 2 guys, they're so latched onto this idea, like they're just so deep in it that they like, well, the Coca-Cola, it didn't always have, I remember it having a dash between Coca and Cola. Now there's this little,
they just have
now there's this
poor
little
memory?
dot. Yeah, and they just have like,
I can relate.
An
but
altered
still.
an altered version of a logo that they thought looked like this, or movie misquotes are a common one.
Yeah,
and
Luke, I am your father versus no, I am your father.
They try to use something. They come up with this thing called residual evidence, which is essentially they basically.
What does that even mean?
It's just like confirmation bias.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because there's one they get latched onto. Life was like a box of chocolates from Forrest Gump, and they're like, I remember it in the movie. He says life is like a box of chocolates. You're telling me that life was like a box of chocolates? No. That's not right. That is not my timeline.
And then they say, I saw Tom Hanks actually said the same quote too. He said, "Life is like a box of chocolates."
In the recreation of his line on an episode
of James Corden,
on a segment of James Corden, which happens 20 years later, 25 years later. From when the movie was made. And then also I took this footage of David Letterman presenting the Oscars talking about writing, and he delivered quote like very iconic lines from movies, and he said life is like a box of chocolates. Why would David Letterman get it wrong?
Yeah, why would those staff writers get it wrong? They severely overestimate the competency of the normal human being.
Is it a fun watch though?
It's funny.
Is it a fun?
I had a good.
Funny.
It was a little. I wish it was like 45 minutes instead of an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Because it got to the point where like, okay, we're watching 2 mentally insane, unwell people spout off their conspiracy theories for an hour and a half.
Yeah, because
at some point it got a little much.
They're trying to inflate it into something that it's not, and like it's some sort of giant conspiracy, like flat Earth conspiracy level of like,
oh my god,
of like there's something going on here. And one of the guys, he constantly was doing this thing where he's like, oh, now it's getting interesting. See, that's strange. He kept on like saying that,
like he's whipping himself up into a frenzy.
And it's also just not. It's also just not well made.
Yeah.
Because they do this thing at the very beginning where they're introducing themselves, where they say their name and then they spell it. And the editor,
they spell it.
The editor of this documentary.
Wait a minute.
And the director. No. I'm explaining. They spell the name.
Down.
Well, you're interrupting me. They spell the name for the editor. That's something that you do in interviews so that the editor knows how to spell their name.
Yeah.
And also they have a lower third, which says their name. So he goes, my name is Jacob Israel. Jacobisrael. And they leave that in the documentary for both of these guys. And there's only 2 people that are talking the entire movie. They just go back and forth. And
they're just they're comforting each other.
And they're not in the same room. They're just talking to the camera.
They're recorded separately. Yeah.
And one of the guys, his main thing was that it just like it was just his opinion on like Mr. Rogers. Like, oh, it's not a beautiful day in the neighborhood, which is how he remembers it. It's a beautiful day in this neighborhood. And he was like, but that's just bad writing. That doesn't make sense. That doesn't have that sing-songy material.
And by the way, when the Mr. Rogers documentary comes out or a movie comes out with Tom Hanks, if they say beautiful day in this neighborhood, it's going to be financially bankrupt. It's going to ruin the movie.
He's like, that movie's terrible to me.
And then they show the clip of him saying, it's a beautiful day in this neighborhood.
And he's like, that's an F movie. That's a bad movie. That's bad writing.
It's really bizarre. And it's like a peek into someone who really puts a lot of emphasis into something that means it's almost like if you say, wow, I had deja vu right now. Everybody and their mom goes, ooh, that's so weird. I feel like I've done this before. All right, moving on. And then this guy 3 months later is like, what does it all mean?
I know.
I had deja vu. Am I living in an alternate reality? Is my dream world seeping into my real world?
Yeah.
Tell me.
And they go into like simulation, like the simulation theory, like we're living in a simulation. They show a clip of Elon Musk. He's like, the most likely scenario is that we're living in a simulation, which I'm not like against the idea that, we're like, I'll entertain those theories, but these guys just latching onto the Mandela effect and making it something that is just it's just you forgot or you misremembered,
or the world came to a very similar conclusion. Like it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood it rolls off the tongue better than in this neighborhood.
Yeah,
it sounds better.
Absolutely.
It sounds better. So I think most people who are quoting that back say that because it sounds like it makes sense.
It's easier to say.
I misquote movies all the time, and Brianna's like, "That's not the quote." I'm like, "The spirit's there."
Yeah, like the whole
you get it.
Like the big one was like, "Luke, I'm your father." No, I'm your father. They're like, but it makes more sense. It makes more sense for the story. It doesn't make it. If no, I'm your father, that's bad. That's bad writing.
Well, I've thought about the Luke thing before because I was wondering why so many people get it wrong.
Yeah.
So think about when the quotes started being spread around. People watch it in a movie theater. There's no video on demand. There's no VHS, the tapes. Everybody watches it, and they have the quote, and they do the Darth Vader voice. Luke. Because he says Luke a lot in the movie.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
Luke, search your feelings. So when you're starting a quote as Darth Vader, as a 13-year-old kid in the 70s, having just watched Star Wars for the first time, you're like, Luke, I am your father. And then that's the quote, and everybody kind of runs with it forever, when in reality, without saying Luke, there's less context to the quote. It's just as simple as that. It's not a fucking alternate timeline.
Yeah. They just like really sunk their teeth into this thing, and they're like, if it's like my reaction to someone telling me, like, did you know that this is actually this? I'd be like, oh, okay.
Yeah, interesting. Didn't know that.
Cool. The whole movie is...
Next time I see the Volkswagen logo, I'll have to take a look.
Yeah. Like, it's just like these... They took an internet conversation or two dudes who are slightly tipsy at a party just talking and made it into a documentary. And then the director makes an appearance.
Oh, yeah.
And he's got this kind of nasally voice like this. Yeah. And he's like in it for a second. And in the beginning, like he narrates in the beginning, but
his past work too are very much like Ancient Aliens History Channel type documentaries.
Oh,
so
okay.
That
tracks.
Yeah,
that tracks.
I saw that going in before I started watching the doc, and I'm like, okay, I'm ready for something weird and goofy, and it's pretty much what I got.
Yeah, isn't that interesting? I guess so. I don't know.
Yeah, so that's going to be available to rent and stream soon. We don't know exactly when the release date is, but yeah, it's a. I honestly would say it's kind of fun to have on and not have to pay a ton of attention to, but it's just goofy.
It was me and Deanna were just a lot of like eye rolling and like, we're like,
look at this fucking
what
guy.
the fuck are they talking about?
Couple of comments in the chat. Joe Bridges, I hate the Mandela effect when it comes up in conversation. Eric says, what timeline did the particle accelerator thing happen? These guys are lost in the sauce. Kind of like Fear and Loathing. Bruce says, I'm time shifting right now, and the only way to watch Fear and Loathing is drunk with a roommate who's a girl stoned hippie named Topaz. That's what I did. Oh shit, that's Bruce from another time.
Oh wait, what?
And then we're talking about Heather brought up Room 237. This documentary sounds like Room 237, but less interesting, which is 100% accurate.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So, anyways, that's all I got.
But yeah, that's it.
Cool. Yeah. What is that called again? The Mandela Effect Phenomenon.
Yeah, that's the documentary.
Yeah.
I didn't think there's an actual movie that is like the Mandela Effect.
It could be a horror movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, I do recall a movie being the Mandela effect, but maybe it's the Mandela effect thinking that there was a movie named the Mandela
Yeah,
effect.
it's like Shazam.
There's also a lot of
Yeah.
like some spelling errors in the
It's so dumb. It's like,
Yeah.
wow, Sally Field's name is actually Sally Fields, not Sally Field.
Yeah.
We're living in an alternate timeline because there's 5 misspellings on different literature for Smoking the Bandit.
Yeah.
So, anyways,
Drop the. It's like that. It's just like it's so stupid.
yeah, it's dumb. All right, so thank you to our cool ass yard duties. That is Javier, Heather Sachs, Ryan Corbin, and Chris. And thank you to everybody in the YouTube live chat. If you're not in, it's a lot of fun. Dallas is here, Joe Bridges is here, Heather, Bruce, Jack, everybody. Eric, a lot of fun. So coming out, just hit up the YouTube page. It's youtube.com/@the middle class film class. Yeah, pretty easy to find. All the notes are in the links are in the show notes. So until next time. Thank you for joining us on this episode. Follow us later on in the week, or if you're watching us live in about 15, 20 minutes, as we review Jack's pick from the Wheel of Destiny, the Stanford Prison Experiment. It's going to be a fun one. Follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/MCFC podcast, and send us an email, mcfcpodcast@gmail.com.
And follow us on Instagram at Middle Class Film Class, and leave us a voicemail, why don't you, if you want to chime in at 209-730-6010.
And follow us on TikTok at Middle Class Film Class and at Twitter, Podcast MTFC.
That's right. See you next time.
All right, see ya.
See ya.
I'm coming.
That's my wife.
Oh, it's time for class.
gonna be late for class.
Bueller? Am I hallucinating here? Just what in the hell do you think you're doing?
Late for class.
You are mine now. You belong to me.
Did you study for the test?
No more complaining. No more Mr. Kimball to go to the bathroom. Nothing. There is no bathroom.
Welcome to Middle Class Film Class. I'm your host for today, Pete.
And I'm Tyler.
And I'm Joseph.
And today on our review episode, we are reviewing a pick from our Patreon list. This week we're reviewing Jack's pick from the Wheel of Destiny, the Stanford Prison Experiment.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. This experiment will be an extension of my research into the effects prisons can have on human behavior.
You're going to be pleased to know that you all have been chosen to be the prison guards.
Oh, I'm pleased. I'm
but
pleased as
under no
punch.
circumstances whatsoever are you to physically assault the prisoners in any way.
Why not?
Just fuck with their mind. That's
just
it.
as you were watching the prisoners, my graduate staff and I will be watching you.
With our pants off.
All right, gentlemen, we gonna have ourselves a lot of fun.
Rule number 1, prisoners must remain silent.
This is an exercise period.
Okay, is it just me, or are these guys taking this thing a bit too seriously? Why don't you give me 20 push-ups?
Look at this guy. It's supposed to be taken seriously. What do you think?
You address me as Mr. Correctional Officer.
Mister.
Mister.
I said.
Interesting 2 weeks after all.
Why don't you make up your bunk, 8612?
I did, Mr. Correctional Officer.
Well, he does have a foghorn leg. What are you doing?
Oh, damn.
What was that?
You just hit him. You're not supposed to hit him.
Spoilers.
I
can't read this.
Let the guards figure it out. Let's see where it goes.
Good evening, gentlemen. How about we make this one a night to remember?
How's our stream? How's our stream health?
They won't let you go.
Our stream health is
They won't let us
fantastic.
leave.
Okay, good. And it works.
Those are not prisoners. Those are not subjects. Those are boys, and you are harming them.
Wow, that's weird. The trailer is showing the words in reverse.
Yeah, some sort of mind trick.
It's like an experiment.
I have no idea it would turn out this way.
Oh my god.
All right, Stanford Prison Experiment. So you might want to get that mute invisible there. There we go. Stanford Prison Experiment. Yeah, this is a an interesting movie. Kind of touted like in that bit right there. It's made it feel like it was a horror movie.
Yeah.
Well, definitely like a thriller.
Yeah, it's. I mean, just the sound of everything. But yeah, this is a movie from Jack Fitzpatrick, who is a Patreon member, loyal to the show, friend of the show, our delegate to the League of Nations to Australia.
Mm-hmm.
He's in the chat right now. Hi, Jack. He says, "Yeah,
Hey, Jack.
my movie,
Yeah, it is.
my movie." This is a very Jack pick. Because
you would like this movie.
You son of a bitch. You sick bastard. So yeah, this movie is it's basically about it's a dramatization of a real life experiment in 1971 when 24 college students, all male, selected to go on a randomly assigned roles of a mock prisoner and guard situation situated in the basement of the Stanford Psychology Building. Is directed by Kyle Patrick Alvarez. It's from 2015. It's written by Tim Talbot and Philip Zimbardo. And Zimbardo, I believe, is the proprietor of the original experiment.
He's Billy Crudup in the movie.
Yeah, exactly. This is starring a murderer's row of people that got famous after this. Ezra Miller, Ty Sheridan, Billy Crudup. We just skyrocketed after this movie. Olivia Thirlby, Michael Angarano, Moises Arias, Nicholas Braun, Keir Gilchrist, Ki Hong Lee, Thomas Mann, Logan Miller, Johnny Simmons, James Woke, and Nelson Ellis, who played, what is his character's name from True Blood? He's
I don't know.
Yeah.
Lafayette.
Lafayette, that's it. Yeah, I loved his name. So, so this is a dramatization of real life events and
a thrillerization.
What's that?
Thrillerization.
Thrillerization. So Jack had a couple of things to say about this, which I'll read actually after we do our initial thoughts. I don't think that's appropriate for this.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So first time watches for you guys?
Yep.
Yes.
I've seen this a long time ago, and I'll talk about
Long time ago.
Yeah, it must have been right after it came out, because it's been a number of years, and this is only 9 years ago or something like that now.
Only 9 years ago.
Yeah.
I'm
Ezra Miller,
afraid
look where
it's
he's at
been
now.
9 years.
Look where Ezra Miller is now.
That's right.
Who knows? They're missing.
Yeah, they're missing. They're missing also the 5 runaways that were in their care. So I guess we'll talk about that in a little bit. But Tyler, why don't you give us your initial thoughts for the Stanford Prison Experiment?
Yeah, so the Stanford Prison Experiment, I did write a letterbox review on it, which you can check out on
Tyler reads his own
Here we go.
letterboxed reviews.
There we go.
This is me, myself, and Tyler.
Tyler, follow him, username Tyler Noe, Knowy.
Yeah, it's a play on words on my real legal government last name, Noe. But anyways, that's neither here or there. So I said the problem I have with this, I gave it a 3 stars.
Okay.
Starting off with the problem.
Problem first.
The problem I have with this movie is when I was watching, I kept asking myself, was this a movie that needed to be made? I like true crime stuff, and this, I feel, falls under that category because of what happened was criminal. I know there is a lot of controversy regarding this quote-unquote experiment, and I didn't do really any research about the specifics. All I know is that it was a bunch of affluent white Stanford college-age students role-playing. However, I did think that the acting was very well done. Despite the horrible costume design, I was into it. I think it was a good thought exercise about the idea of this quote-unquote experiment. But afterwards, I had this gnawing idea, quote, should this have been made? Unquote. But disregarding the subject matter, the movie was just okay. Michael
Angarano.
Angarano. Okay, I didn't know how to say his last name. Angarano was the best actor in this movie. B- end of report. So I mean,
B- 3 stars.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Continue. I think it's like I said in the review. It's a good thought exercise about like the pull and push of I don't know how you would say it.
Authority.
Yes, thank you. I don't know why I couldn't think of that word.
Got it. That's all right.
And so so like it got me thinking for sure. But I think that this was such a small blip in the in our like modern history that I don't think it should have been dramatized, or it wasn't told, the story wasn't told in a way that was super compelling. Like it was more so about the performances that made the movie watchable. I think that this would more be suited for a documentary.
Oh, there's documentaries about it too.
Yes, I assume so. I assumed that. And that's what I said. Like I didn't do any like further research into it. Like I had known about the Stanford experiment for a long time, and I've known about this movie. I just never checked it out because I thought to myself, I already knew what was going to happen, like what it was going to be. So
did it match what your expectations were?
So it's interesting that you say that because my expectation was the Facebook movie. I was thinking to myself,
the Facebook,
like
the social network.
Social network.
Yeah, the social network. I was trying to do a joke on it, but
oh, nailed it.
The Facebook movie. You remember?
Yeah. Drop the.
So
it's just Facebook movie.
So
Facebook.
I was
the
thinking,
movie.
but I was thinking along the lines of the Social Network, in which when that movie first came out, I was thinking to myself, Facebook like just came out like a few years ago. Like, how could you make a movie about this?
Mm-hmm.
How could you make a movie about this? And then the movie came out, and it's a masterpiece. It's great. I mean, I think it won like Academy Awards.
Maybe.
So with the Stanford experiment, I thought to myself, I went into that expectation, like that level of like filmmaking, and I don't say I wasn't disappointed. You know what? I was a little disappointed. Actually, I was about to say I wasn't disappointed, but you know what? I kind of was because I think there was a lot of room to explore like the psychological torture that these people had to go through, but overall, like it wasn't a bad movie. I wouldn't say like don't watch this. However, there was some room for improvement. So yeah, that's why I gave it 3 stars, B-. Like it was just good.
Jack is in the chat and he's very sad. He sent a sad face emoji and he said, "I thought this was going to be a very Tyler pick. Damn."
No, I mean, no, I'm not.
Dude,
I would.
He thought it would be up your alley.
Yeah.
It was up my alley. Like I like the subject matter is very intriguing.
3 stars is still a good rating, Jack.
Yeah, like I'm not disparaging the movie in any sort of way. It just
could have been better.
I feel like with the subject matter, it could have been a little bit more workshopped. But I mean, like what carried this movie was the performance. Like the performances. Like you really it really gets you in, at least for myself, because like I have a very distaste for authority, and
yeah, you look like
so
your current state. You look like you could be in that experiment.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Like you
What does that mean?
currently look like you fit the 70s look right now of a
I do?
Stanford student.
Yeah, the facial hair, thick facial hair,
the glasses,
long hair,
the thick brim glasses.
I don't know if that is like an insult to me or not.
It's neither.
Neither a compliment nor an insult.
Neither.
It's just a
observation.
Stated fact.
Okay.
How do you think you would thrive in that situation?
We'll get to that later.
Okay.
I
already knew that was gonna happen. But anyways, yeah. No, I thought it lulled a little bit in some parts, but overall, it was
decent.
It was
decent.
It was decent. It was a decent movie.
All right, that's fair. All right, Joseph, you're up.
Okay. I thought it was very thrilling. I was very engaged for the most part. It felt like a Lord of the Flies, but like a contained situation, not like a survival situation where anything goes. It was frustrating at times because the whole time I was just waiting for one of the prisoners to just
pop someone, just
waiting for it. Because like you feel the anger and the frustration building inside them.
Yeah.
Or some of them, not all of them. I was just waiting. I mean, Ezra Miller, 8612 kind of does it a little bit, and I'm like, yes, the rebellion.
Yeah,
it's happening. I don't like you,
guard.
And but I was like, I was kind of let down by that fact that it. Just for my own satisfaction, that didn't happen.
They didn't get their comeuppance.
Yeah, there was moments of rebellion, like the barricading, and the new guy who wouldn't eat the sausages.
Yeah, I like that.
Like the very like hunger strike, like a mini hunger strike, because he saw the shit bucket, and looked at the sausages. That was good.
I can't believe they had the real shit bucket full of shit.
Yeah,
gnarly.
There was a part of me that felt like I feel like the students who are the prisoners are the only ones getting the experiment done on them. That's at some point.
That's kind of what they were saying too. We're making the same pay, and we're the ones getting the shit kicked out of us.
Yeah.
But then
we should be getting paid more.
And they're getting $15 for the whole experience.
Yeah,
$15. I guess it goes a long way for a college student in the 70s.
It does. Apparently for the whole summer.
But then taking a step further back and looking at it like the professors are, looking at the guards and the prisoners, it was interesting to think about like, well, these students who are playing the guards are now being given this amount of power, and you're seeing sort of a version of them, like of somebody, like if someone was given power, what would they do? If they were given authority, what would they do it? Would they do it with impunity, like a lot of them did, or that they showed, or would they just like not? They would kind of refuse to do that to somebody.
Yeah.
And even like the end credits when they show like the recreation of the interviews, I guess, when they have like the one-on-ones. And he's like, "You're a nice guy. You're a nice guy."
And he's like, "You don't know that. Or maybe I'm not a nice guy."
Yeah.
And then his explanation, Mike Angarano's explanation of like, I just wanted to see what I was doing my own experiment of like how far I could get before, like, I was surprised nobody said anything.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you can't say that.
Yeah. You can't do that. You can't push that guy.
Yeah.
And make them do push-ups.
Yeah. So it was a really, really kind of thought-provoking movie. And it was, I think it was well made. And I think it's a subject matter of a movie that I could see myself rewatching it at some point. And it would be a movie that I would watch like if I was in high school, like if I was a sophomore or junior, and if it was on TV, like I could see myself coming back to this
number of times,
especially like that age, like 15, 16 years old.
Yeah.
Because it's like something that is kind of out of left field. It's not like in the mainstream. It's like, could feel like you're a little hipster, maybe a little indie.
Yeah.
I guess so. I mean, well, no, never mind.
But yeah, it was good. It was entertaining. I would say that the performances, or some of the performances, were a little weak. I think Ezra Miller was not super great, or not super consistently good. I felt his voice was really annoying.
He was doing his best Justin Long impression,
but higher pitched. Yeah, and it was like really kind of grating. He's like, "You're a nice guy. You're a nice guy."
I agree with that. I did not like Ezra's performance in this movie. I thought it was just cringe.
And even taking a further step back, Michael Angarano, because I know him most from John the Broncos, where he's a super awkward teenager.
Yeah.
So like seeing him in a role like this was very jarring.
It's jarring for sure.
Yeah, he's got like the full long facial hair, and he puts on like a high pitched foghorn leghorn type accent.
Yeah.
And goes crazy with the power. Like
talking back, boy.
And so it was jarring to see him in that. And at first I was like, this isn't fit. But then like he kind of
makes it work.
It fell in. He fell into it, and then I'm like, well, now he was given that power from the director of this movie. So I was like, is he like that in real life? Is he a bad guy? Could he be a bad guy in real life, given that much power? No man can have all that power.
I think he's just a good actor.
But yeah, it was engaging and thrilling and entertaining.
Cool.
And I think the weakest acting part came from the girl.
Yeah, she was fine,
but she's not in it for the most part. So
yeah, not really.
And also the sort of like consultant felon. Who came on, and he puts on like when they're doing the parole thing.
Yeah,
that was like
he's intense.
He was intense, even though he's like afterwards he's like, I just did something that I would never do.
Yeah,
and now I have to leave because
that was a very profound scene.
Yeah, it was.
So yeah, he was good. But yeah,
awesome.
Overall pretty good.
Nice.
Liked it.
Good job, Jack. You did it. 1 out of 2 ain't bad.
You were wrong. It's a Joseph movie.
Yeah. Oh shit, son. Okay, cool. So this is my second watch. I remember the first time I didn't find it quite as bleak. And as I'm watching this, it's like there's no reprieve from the like constant barrage of human rights violations that are being subjected upon these poor prisoners.
These poor kids.
I know, and it's
for $15.
I know, which I did the
for $15.
Tyler, get on that mic. Tyler, get on that mic.
For $15, you can be a prisoner for 2 weeks.
There you go. I found an inflation calculator. It's $115.
Damn,
$115.
Still though.
Flip that mic around.
Tyler, are you talking the back of the mic?
Oh. Yes, I am.
There you go. There you go. That's the old Noe switcheroo.
Sorry about that.
It's all right.
But yeah, no, it's like, okay, so all right, with inflation, $115 to be mentally tortured I remember. Actually, I'm sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself. Go ahead, Pete.
Thank you.
Stop it.
So as the movie goes on, you're like, when is it going to stop? When is there going to be, like, at one point one of the prisoners gets removed and he's replaced with, Thomas Mann, I believe, is the actor. And I'm like, they're going to have to do this one by one for all of these poor young men that are being subjected to this, because at some point they're going to snap. And what happens after the psychological breakdown of these people and lawsuits flying around or whatever. And then I realized, oh, wait, this is 1971. The word lawsuit is basically not even in the public vernacular at this point. So I'm of two minds about the actual experiment. Did we learn something from this? 100%. Yeah. I'm not in the psychology world, so I can't say for certainty what it was, but I've heard this experiment referenced a number of times. There are kind of keystone base plate studies that show something about the human psyche and psychological torture or whatever it might be, or even just like the normalities of the human mind. Like there's the the one about giving the little kid one marshmallow and say, if you wait 10 minutes and I'm going to leave the room and I'm wait 10 minutes, and if you don't eat the one marshmallow, then you'll get 3 marshmallows when I get back. And then you study those children and you watch where they go in life, and you can see from these decisions this child makes on their impulse control or long-term gratification control could potentially predict where they're going to come and be in life, some 15, 20 years later. And it's like, that's fascinating. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
Or the concept of the one study where they have the person in the room who's supposedly controlling a electric shock to someone in the other room.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's that one, and all the variations of that study are very interesting. If the person who's giving the command is in plain clothes, they're less likely to follow them. But if they're wearing a lab coat and they have a clipboard, they're like 95% more likely to follow the commands to harm and or up to kill the person in the other room with this device. And it's like, all that stuff's fascinating. The Stanford Prison Experiment or the Zimbardo Prison Experiment is one of those that has long-lasting takeaways from the psychiatry community. So I'm like, part of me is like, is it all right to do all this stuff? I mean, there was extensive studies and interviews some years later that everybody basically said, I don't have any long-term lasting psychological effects from this. Trust me.
Bullshit.
I know. Trust me. I'll
Bullshit artist.
but so maybe it was good for that regard, but at the same time,
you mental?
At the same time, when you go sign up for an experiment, it's like the people who sign up to be part of like chemical experiments. Like this is a new drug. What's it do? Oh, it's a hair growth thing. Okay, what are the potential side effects? Here's 100,000 potential side effects.
Right.
Here's $100. Do you want to take the drug or not? And they say, yes, I do. And it's like, that's a decision that person makes with their own body to have autonomy to do this thing.
Yeah.
But then there comes the ethical like conundrum. Like, okay, so we're giving these people chump change to do something that could potentially ruin them for their entire life.
Sure. Take student loans, for example. I mean, you're making somebody sign up for a potential lifetime of debt. You're ruining their entire financial fucking life over a decision that they're making when they're 17 years old sometimes. It's like, where do you draw the line?
Well, I mean,
so
yeah,
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's all right. Let me get this.
Go ahead.
And that's fine. I don't mind. But so that's kind of where to me, the whole thing is a very complex, like, should I be enjoying this? Should I be finding this fascinating, or should I find this to be like the Billy Crudup character is the scum of the earth?
Right.
Because the way that Hollywood portrays this, or this dramatized version of the experiment portrays it, he's stoking the fires. He's like, he's making it worse. He's psychologically torturing the children, not because it's part of the experiment, because he's just trying to make it that much more intense. So was that really how it was? Probably not. The truth probably lies somewhere in the middle.
Like, was there actually an escape attempt made by the prisoners?
There was.
Okay.
Yes, there was. And that chaplain was real. The priest that comes in. Yeah, I have a lot of information about that later. So basically, long story short on this whole thing, I thought the acting was very, very good for a young cast of young actors. They did a really good job of emoting the anguish. I thought Ezra Miller's shrieks and mental breakdown were haunting. I think
Sure.
the other character, I can't remember who it was, who was locked in the room, and when everybody starts saying,
Oh, it was the kid who's in the Lords of Dogtown.
Prisoners,
the one who had
Prisoners 819, when he's locked in the room and they all start chanting that.
yeah.
It's like that whole thing was haunting for me too, and his breakdown was very good. So I thought it was great. I liked it better the second time, but I found it way more bleak on like a humanistic level, on like a comment on society and how shitty human beings could be to each other, and then immediately shrug it off and go, "Well, that's that. We want to shake hands and move on with our life,
and we're done."
Now we're done. So, but yeah. Anyways, so that's my take on it. You want to hear Jack's?
Let's hear Jack's. What does Jack have to say? Get him on the line. Get him on the horn.
Okay. Heather says the Noe switcheroo is added to my list of things that sound dirty but are not.
Wait, what?
That's when you're talking into the back of the mic. That's the Noe switcheroo.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Okay, so Jack basically said that he picked this because he thought it would lead to a very interesting conversation about societal roles and power dynamics, toxic masculinity, and other things. He says, as a guard, he would be the one guy from 13 Reasons Why with a blonde mustache. He doesn't push anyone. He isn't a jerk, but he's also barely interferes. I think it's a confusing role, as what they're supposed to really be doing is kind of unclear by design, and you're not sure what you can do and you can't do. As a guard, you have the power over the prisoners, but you also know it's a simulation, and you also know that the money's on the table. So I think the guards who leaned into it were doing it kind of out of an expectation, like they felt like they were supposed to in a way. He says, I also think that it suits a very particular kind of person and somebody who might have lacked power in other areas of life. When it comes to college students, that's going to be a lot of them, but naturally fall into an overcompensating once given that power. I think it's an uncomfortable truth that some people would find out about themselves and the only divide is random chance of being chosen. The power is all an illusion in life. He says, I definitely wouldn't be abusive, but I know that almost for a fact, but I'm not proud that I also don't think I would play the hero and try to stop anything. Then again, I also think that people that would be abusive also think that they wouldn't beforehand. So you really only know once you're in that position. Furthermore, as a prisoner, he says, I'm pulling the sickie card like some of the others. I know that they were accused of being pussies and whatever, but I don't know. I have an inherent intolerance to being told what to do. I hate it, just like Tyler. Hates
Did
authority.
he say that?
No, he didn't. That's my commentary.
Yeah, he's adding it in.
Yeah. But he said, playing the role of the bitch just wouldn't sit right with me. I'm not saying I'd revolt as hard as Ezra Miller's character, but I don't think that I could do it. I just don't think I can make it through it. It's like when I watch Full Metal Jacket and the angry drill sergeant is verbally abusing them. I see that and I'm like, nah, fam. I don't respect the approach of being a big, scary asshole to get results. In Whiplash, I don't think J.K. Simmons' approach is justified, even if he does get the results. So that's kind of Jack's take on it all. So
it's a good take. It's a good take.
And I think it is going to drive a lot of interesting discussion. So my question is for you fellas.
Yeah.
What kind of guard would you be, Joseph?
What kind of guard? If we were chosen to be
If you
guards?
were in the position, yeah.
I don't know, because I'm not good at like staying in character when
Really?
it's like playing Dungeons and Dragons. Like I liked doing like playing a character and like doing the role play aspect. But it's hard for me to stay in character. Like it's hard for me to not make jokes about
I see.
something the character would do versus something I would do.
Yeah.
And I like inject my own personality obviously into it, but it just like so like playing a guard, I feel like in the beginning I would definitely be laughing and like trying to be authoritative, but I would just feel,
I mean, that's what they were doing in the beginning too.
I would just feel like I'm like out of place, and then I would end up being like the guy who's like I kind of like, I guess what Jack said about the guy with the fake mustache.
Yeah.
And just be like, I mean, I would like to think that I would interfere because I was getting so frustrated with how they're being treated. And, but I don't know if I actually would. If I put in the situation, I don't know if I would. I'd like to think that I would, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think you really don't until you're in that situation.
Yeah.
And that's also kind of the big problem behind police brutality is that, one bad apple spoils the bunch. But the problem with the police brutality thing is, maybe you have 2 abusive police officers in the ranks of 100 on your police force.
Yeah.
But the fact that everybody else is complicit to that and decides not to do something about it makes them all bad apples.
Yeah. And especially, when you're outnumbered.
Yeah.
And if you don't say anything, you're neutral in the situation.
You would think in your heart you could tell yourself you're neutral, but the reality is you're just as complicit.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. What was it? What was the question again?
What kind of guard
would you be? So before you, Tyler, before you answer that, go to the commentary page, Joseph.
Okay.
And you're gonna have to go to
which clip?
You have one of these playing right now, so you're gonna have to stop whatever that's on there.
No? Is it playing? It's not playing.
One of them is. See how you have the thing on there? Click number 2. Number 3. Yeah, hit stop. There we go. Okay, go to 1 and then play. Or restart.
Or go here.
Yeah, there you go. Then restart.
Oh wait. Oh, no, hold on a second.
It's okay. We're good.
On the first day, I said, this is not going to work. I mean, the guards felt awkward giving orders, and they'd say, okay, line up, repeat your numbers, and the prisoners start giggling.
Hey, I don't want anybody laughing. 3, 2, 1.
And then a very interesting thing happened. Dave Eshelman, who the prisoners named John Wayne, like he's a Wild West cowboy, he begins to be more extreme.
I decided that I would become the worst, most intimidating, cruel prison guard that I could possibly be.
I want to see in the future that you do work when you're told. Thanks. Say it again. Thank you, sir. Say bless you, correction officer.
I was sort of fascinated myself that people were believing the act, and I was trying to see how far I could take it before somebody would say, okay, that's enough, stop.
We did have to do things like push-ups. We would have to sing things. At the beginning, we protested some of the actions. We did things to irritate the guards.
So the guards' authority was challenged right off the bat. And the guards had to decide how they were going to handle that, and they had to decide it without our input. I mean, again, this was not a Milgram study in which we were standing over them telling them what to do. And they began to see the prisoners' behavior as kind of an affront to their authority. And they began to push back.
They're not interfering.
He would ramp up the general harassment, just sort of crank it up a bit. Nobody was telling me I shouldn't be doing this. The professor is the authority here. You know, he's the prison warden. He's not stopping me.
This is unbelievable. They took our clothes. Hands off the door.
There was the first evening a kind of rebellion that took place.
The prisoners rebelled. They barricaded themselves in their cells and said, we refuse to come out. They took off their numbers. They didn't want to be de-individuated. They started cursing the guards to their face. And the key turning point was the guards began to think of them as dangerous prisoners.
So exactly what you said about them not taking it seriously, that's what happened at the beginning of the thing.
Yeah.
Everyone's giving these fake orders and then giggling about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think probably the fact that they're in person, everybody's in character, everybody's wearing a uniform. It's a physical set and all that probably helps you stay in character. So,
well, yeah, I mean, it's just role playing.
If you just like get in the mindset of you're just committing to the bit, and that's what that guy did. So Tyler,
what kind of guard would you be?
Oh, I would have definitely been the John Wayne one.
You definitely think, or you hope that you think that you would do that?
I hope. I wouldn't say hope, but that would happen. Like if I was put in the guard position. Like, yeah, I would be the leader of the.
You'd be the abusive,
sociopathic. I would be the sociopathic guard, because I would lean into it. Like, I would just be like, all right, you know what? He wants a fucking prison. Like, you're getting a prison right now.
Interesting.
And I would strike those people too. They said,
of course.
They said you can't touch those prisoners. No, that ends here and that ends now.
You know, when Jack mentioned at the very beginning when I read his take on this, he says trying to find people that feel like they may have less power in their own lives and want to play out like a power trip in this scenario.
Yeah.
Do you feel that's why you would do that, Tyler, or is this just a bit?
That's an interesting thought. I mean, I suppose so. I mean, like due to the current nature of our society in which I'm placed in. I mean, I'm a delivery driver. You know, like I'm not some corporate-y muckety muck or you know, anyone important. I just deliver packages. So I think, and I thought about this too, Pete. Like I was thinking to myself, like given that power of authority, of course, like I would like become like a maniac in there. Like I'm self-aware enough with myself to know that that would happen. Am I proud of that? Like, do I want that? Of course not.
I have this capacity to be abusive.
I mean, that's what war tells us, is that we're all capable of killing.
Yeah.
But well, so like what I'm saying is like I recognize that given that situation, I would definitely be like this sociopathic maniac. Like,
And you thank God every day for not giving you that power. That's what you're saying.
God knew that you would be too strong if you had didn't have so many vices.
I don't think God damn it. I don't think
and tummy issues.
I don't think God is thanking me. I think everyone surrounding me is like, thank God he is not in a position of authority.
You and everybody else is thanking God.
We're secretly intimidated by you.
we need to put him in a place of subduedness. So
if on the other hand, the flip side of that is a huge portion of the submissive dominatrix sort of like indie underground society or whatever. The submissives a lot of times are high-powered executives that are so used to being the strong authority figure in their daily lives that they want to be able to disconnect from that and basically get the shit kicked out of them a little bit. So we always want what we can't have. Maybe there's some truth to that.
Oh yeah, I think so. Yeah. But I mean, like, my question is, Joseph and Pete, would you choose to be a prisoner or a guard?
You don't get to choose. So it's a moot point.
No, in the interview process, they ask you, like, would you want to be a prisoner or would you want to be a guard? Why or why not?
Oh yeah, they do, and then they don't honor that.
No, they don't. They just it's on a coin toss.
I'd probably prefer to be the prisoner, to be honest. I wouldn't have to
Why?
Because in this context,
you don't get any privilege.
Well, I wouldn't assume that it would go this far. You know, it would just be a small study. That's number one. Number two, I don't have to make any decisions. I make enough decisions in my daily life. I'd rather just flip my brain off and just be done with it for 6 days or whatever.
Less responsibility.
Yeah, less responsibility.
You're going with your metaphor with or
that's right, absolutely. Yeah. And number it's not a metaphor. And number three, what was the other thing I was going to say? I lost it. I just completely lost it.
Well, sometimes like people are like in The Office, so eloquently and humorously illustrated. Like prison sounds like way better than this office, because like
does it really?
We get outside time, and we get 3 meals a day. We just wake up, eat, go outside, eat dinner, go to sleep.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I know. I remember what my third thing was. Is that I always wondered how well I would do in like one of those resorts or like the kind of getaway things where you don't speak for 3 days straight or a week straight or something like that.
Those exist?
Yeah. It's like a meditation.
I've never heard of that
it's like
before.
A meditation thing, and you're supposed to reconnect your mind to nature or some shit. You know, I think about those or the sensory deprivation places where you're in, like, they talk about how isolating and insanity-inducing, like the whole is the solitary confinement. I always in my head, I'm always thinking, is it really like that? Could I push through a day of solitary confinement? Could I do 3 days? Would I come out a different person? So I think in my mind, being a prisoner in that would be able to check a box I'll never be able to do in real life.
Yeah, I just don't think I would be able to pass as a guard.
I think you could absolutely be a guard.
I don't think.
Yes, you could.
I don't think I'm in.
Yes, you could, Joseph. Yes, you could.
I don't think I could keep the bit up.
Tyler, Joseph just saunters in. the
Now,
look on his
Tyler was a
face.
prisoner, maybe I could.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. I was gonna say if I was the prisoner and you were the guard, you would point me out immediately.
No,
All
I
right.
would feel so bad for Tyler.
Let's
that I
go,
would just
string
leave-
bean.
I would
Let's
just
get
leave
in
him
there.
alone. Yeah, I'd say, all right, that guy's already had life kick the shit out of him. Let's just
Get in the hole. I didn't do anything. I don't care. Get in there.
yes, sir, Mr. Correctional Officer, sir.
Take your pants off.
Done and done.
Put this dress on.
A couple comments in the chat. Heather's talking about the dynamics of the actual study itself, and she says, if you want another view of these dynamics and the kind of societal experiment, there are lots of areas that break down this further. Not societal, it's more privilege of young white men. Look up Lord of the Flies and how it's a study of just that and how that might shake out in other cultures. For example, you've taken you give X, and if you hold on to it, you will get more, but no one else would thing to different cultures. And folks shared regardless because they operate as a society. So like in America, the findings would be different of that like marshmallow study than it would be in other countries because they're used to sharing with each other. And I think that's all, you're right, Heather. A huge component of all that is our society. And it's, it would be a very different experience picking people from different walks of life than young, affluent young men at this like fancy college or whatever.
Yeah, I mean that's what I found interesting about this about the subject matter as well is because you hear Stanford Prison Experiment, but you don't think of the people who are involved in it. They're coming from like rich executive families and stuff like that. So
children of privilege.
Just affluent children of privilege. And so what makes this movie effective is that you forget that aspect. Like you forget that they are from a life of privilege, because typically, at least like I think a majority of people, like they couldn't really care about like rich kids. Like if you're not in the circle, like it's kind of just like, yeah, no, fuck you, you're rich, you're fine.
Sure.
Like I'm struggling and you're not.
It's like our conversation about poor versus famous person poor.
Exactly. And so it's so for myself, I think what was so effective about this movie was it made you forget that it really humanized these rich kids, because they were very arrogant.
Well, they definitely got an experience that they would never get otherwise. But
and that's what the priest was saying too. When chaplain priest,
yeah, same thing. Chaplain is just the priest in prison.
Oh, okay. So like
prison priest. Yeah.
When the priest comes in,
it sounds like a Tarantino movie or a fake movie in a Tarantino movie.
When the priest comes in to give them counsel, or just like a therapy sort of session, when he walks out and he tells the doctor, says, yeah, these kids need this, like they need to know like what it's like to have everything stripped away from them. So in a way, like, and that's like the conundrum that I was having philosophically.
It's not the worst message either, too, because
not the best way to go about it, though.
I agree with that. The methodology, delivery of that message is
the delivery was.
But like, say for example, why do people do Tough Mudders? It's like I want to prove to myself, I'm going to put myself through this extreme misery and push my physical self further than I thought I ever could. And the first time I did one of those, I was shocked that I was able to do it. It really blew my mind open of what my physical body was capable of. And also that I actually had fun getting the shit kicked out of me through this whole thing. And when I came out on the other end, it was like, I'm very glad for that experience. I want to do it again. I don't think that these guys would want to do it again.
Put me back in, coach.
No. Yeah. Except
Put me back in, coach.
I wonder if they said, you have a chance to go back in, but we're going to flip a coin again. Next time you might be the guard.
Yeah.
If the prisoners would go, oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Are the guards now going to be the prisoners? Because I want to get revenge on John Wayne.
I don't think that would go well.
No. It'd be murders.
So like to cap off my point, I think that the philosophy of, okay, we need to teach these rich white kids like what it's really like. And I think the character who played Lafayette in True Blood, I for the life of me,
It's fine. Yeah, we know who he is.
But when he did some really hard time in like one of the toughest prisons in the continental US, and when he like mimicked like on the was it the parole
board,
parole board,
yeah.
And he just like walked out. He's like, I just became everything I hated.
Well, he also did say to them that those kids, kind of the same idea, those kids could use, they don't know shit. They're just wimpy little kids that need their nose wiped or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
But here's the flip side of it though is like what this movie did for myself is that I humanized with them regardless of their status in our society.
I think that means that you're probably a stable person, because the message wasn't "fuck these kids, they deserve this." That was just two small characters within the movie's take on it. That's like justifying that they can deal with this. It's not the end of the world for them. They're fine. They'll be okay.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, so I guess what my point is, like, I get the reasoning behind it. However, at the end of the day, this was just supposed to be an experiment on like psychological behavior, and then it became this weird masochistic sort of
Billy Crudup's character was pushing it
like
to the
scenario.
point. He was almost taking joy in the suffering.
Yeah, I mean, there was like all these kind of abuses that were happening that were against the contract. People kept telling him, his team around him kept saying like, yeah, you shouldn't do this. Like, this is like, they're like talking about getting lawyers and stuff. He's like George Lucas. He's like, no, that stays in.
We're not stopping. I'm gonna say, as far as a guard, I would probably. I like to think that I wouldn't be an abusive guard, but I probably would be.
No, you would be cold and calculated.
I would be.
I know you would. I know you would.
But I don't think that I would be to the point of cruelty. It would be almost like to teach a message to, people or whatever. But all that being said, Joseph, can you go to the commentary for clip 2?
Oh yeah, we have more clips.
Yes.
Okay. Transition off. I guess you don't have to turn it off.
No, it doesn't matter.
Oh yeah.
You just transition and then hit play on that. You gotta go click on clip 2 though.
God dang it! Every time.
There you go.
All right.
I had really thought that I was incapable of this kind of behavior.
This is a real prisoner guard.
I was
after the fact.
Surprised, I was dismayed to find out that I could really be that I could act in a manner so absolutely unaccustomed to anything I would even really dream of doing. And while I was doing it, I didn't feel any regret. I didn't feel any guilt. It was only afterwards when I began to reflect on what I had done that this behavior began to dawn on me, and I realized that this was a part of me that I hadn't really noticed before.
So that's another, like, just a kid who was hired to do this thing, and he became the guard, and he became a version of himself he never thought he could be. So I think that's, for me, the biggest takeaway is that we are all capable of terrible things when put in that situation. Doesn't make it right, but there needs to be, my biggest takeaway really, though, is if you're giving people this absolute power, more or less, there needs to be a checks and balances, like a third-party mediator that's responsible to basically pull the e-brake when it gets too much. That's why body cam footage exists for police officers.
Right.
There's accountability there now where people are able to go and say, yeah, look what this guy did. That's actually murder. That's not you conducting your job.
I think the inherent problem I have with like these interviews that we've been hearing is like just like the pure ignorance of oneself. Like for myself, when you asked that question, Pete, what guard you would be, and I was like, I would be Christopher Archer's character. Like I would be.
But you think that now, knowing yourself on the surface level, when you get in there, you may not have the chutzpah to be able to do those things. You may.
No, I know I would. I would.
Again, we don't know. None of us know until we get into that situation.
And we're not ever going to get in that situation.
So we don't know.
Yeah.
Tyler, fine. I guess we don't know.
You think that if you saw a clone of yourself, you would murder them instantly. I don't think you have.
That would be funny if like I saw a clone of myself. It was just some random guy who looked like me.
And then you realize I don't have the balls to do it, and you kill yourself instead. And then the guy goes,
No,
"Wow,
no. I would
that guy that looks a lot like me just killed himself."
I would kill a clone I would kill a clone of myself, and I would also kill a time traveler of myself as well.
I don't think you could step on a mouse if you had the opportunity.
Oh yes, I could.
No.
Yes,
no.
I could.
You're too kind.
Oh, yeah.
You're too kind-hearted.
No, I can switch that off.
If you were driving down the highway and you saw a deer that was hit and it was writhing in pain on the side of the road, would you pull over and kill it?
Fuck no.
Wait,
there
you go.
Wait, kill it?
Yeah,
Why would I kill it?
Put it out of
it's
its
gonna
misery.
die anyway.
Yeah, exactly. You wouldn't
put it out of its misery. Oh God, no, I don't give a shit. I'm trying to get somewhere.
Prisoner 819 did a bad thing.
Now it's all coming together.
Yeah, that's right.
I guess so.
So that's.
I thought.
Well,
sorry.
there's a clip 4 here.
3?
No, 4.
All right, not 3.
This is transition, but don't click play yet. This is this is the actual scene of the prisoner 819, and this is the real life shrieking of the man. I think this is the one. Go ahead and hit the
trigger warning.
Yeah, let me see if this is the right one.
Prisoner 819 did a bad thing. Prisoner 819 did a bad thing. Prisoner 819 did a bad thing. Prisoner 819 did a bad thing.
As soon as I realized that 819 could hear this, I rushed to the room where I had left him. And what I found was a boy crying hysterically, while in the background his fellow prisoners were chanting and yelling that he is a bad prisoner and that they were being punished because of him.
Okay, so that wasn't the shrieking one, but that's the real life.
3.
Yeah, that's. I don't think that's the same guy. I think it might be, but it's watching them stand there and chant that.
Yeah,
it's like a fucking cult.
Yeah, it is. Like,
yeah, what did the prisoner do? I can't remember.
He was.
Oh no, he refused to eat his like sausage links.
Was that
from
him?
I don't know. I don't think that was him. I think it was, but it was some very small contrivance. It wasn't anything of note. So go ahead and play clip number 3, and this is a little bit longer, but this does have the actual. This is the one where Ezra Miller's character is having the breakdown. I don't know if it was him or the other one, prisoner 819, but they're basically saying, I don't know what's wrong with me, but something's wrong with me. I got to get out of here, man. I'm freaking out. I need a doctor.
It's 612.
Oh yeah.
So this is the real life one.
Right now in this jail, I'm the one of the staff psychologists. This I've been doing for 14 years.
Doug Corgi.
Practically.
And now he went from that to actually working as a prison psychologist.
Phil Zimbardo's experiment.
Oh.
I feel really fucked up inside. You don't know. I gotta go. To a doctor, anything.
Is him listening to himself.
Fucked up. I don't know how to explain it. I'm all fucked up inside. Out! Out now! God damn it. Fucked up. You don't know.
As an experience, it was unique. I've never screamed so loud in my life. I've never been so upset in my life. And it was an experience of being out of control, both of the situation and of my feelings. And maybe I always have had difficulty with the notion of losing control. I wanted to understand myself, so I went into psychology, so that the unconscious wouldn't so control me, as it did that whole experiment, that whole situation. I was confused. I didn't know what my role was. And I figured, I'm thinking now, I'll go into psychology, I'll learn what makes a person tick. I won't be so afraid of the unconscious. The Stanford prison was a very benign prison situation, and it still caused guards to become sadistic, prisoners to become hysterical, other prisoners to break out in hives. I mean, here you had a benign situation. It didn't work. It promoted everything a normal prison promotes. The guard role promotes sadism. The prisoner role promotes a feeling of confusion and shame. Anybody can be a guard. It's harder to be on guard against the impulse to be sadistic, because it's a quiet rage, a malevolence that you can dam up, but
there's nowhere for it to go. It comes out sideways, sadistically or whatever. Whereas I think you do have more control, maybe because this is my experience. Everybody needn't be a prisoner. I think if I went through the experience now, I wouldn't have been nearly so confused. I would have been able to do a lot of things differently and not have felt so unsure of what to do. I would have known much more about my options.
Really,
So, I mean, it's
really
an
interesting. Yeah, to think about, watch this guy years later.
And he set him on a path.
Yeah, I really did.
Of course, there's like a hindsight towards what I mean. The way I see it, and because after I watched this movie, yeah, the movie was like, yeah, it was okay, but it was a really great thought experiment or like a thought exercise to think about like what I would do in that situation, whether it be a guard or be a prisoner. I wouldn't be like Ezra Miller and try to rebel or anything like that. I would be more like the other character, the mustachioed character who.
Well, the mustachio character is the guard, right?
No. The guy who gets hogtied.
He just like it was like day 1 or day 2. He just wanted to do his time, make his $15 and get out of there.
Oh, the guy that wouldn't cuss.
No,
not
because he has a
guy.
mustache
The one
too.
who had he had a
dark hair.
They all have mustaches, actually.
I guess so.
The guy that plays young Neil in Scott Pilgrim.
There's the
guy who is at the main parole scene where he's getting accosted by Lafayette.
And like I would Lafayette. Okay, we'll just keep
so that's your take, Joseph. What kind of prisoner would you be?
Yeah, I was going to actually ask that since you asked what kind of guard would we be.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think I would be as like rebellious as 8612.
Yeah.
Based on my own feelings of watching the movie, I'd be like, no, fuck you. I'm not going to do that. Because part of me is like, you're taking this too seriously. Like,
yeah, for sure.
And that part would come out as opposed to, again, failing to role play as a prisoner. You know, my own feelings would be interjected. You know,
I think at the like I said, I would have been obedient. I would have gone along. I'm sorry.
Is that you already gave your answer?
No, I'm pontificating on.
What about my answer?
No, screw you.
I get nothing. I'm saying right here, I would be the most obedient prisoner.
Yeah, I know.
Yes, sir. No, sir.
I would chuck and jive.
Yes, Mr. Police Correctional Officer.
You would be you'd be red and Josh.
I did really like the scene where that guy wouldn't curse, he wouldn't swear.
Yeah, I feel like that would be my role.
I feel like he handled that whole thing well.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, no, sir. If you want, sir. I am if you want me to be. I'm whatever you want me to be.
Yeah.
You say so, I am.
Yeah, because in all reality, when you're in that situation and you have this authority over you and you have literally no control, you're in a caged environment, what can you do besides lean into your role and beg for mercy in that, essentially? It's like you get pulled over by a police officer. Do you go, man, fuck you? Yeah, I was speeding, but everybody else was speeding. You say, yes, sir. I understand,
yes,
officer. You know, here's my driver's license. Yep. You know, I apologize. You're right. No excuse. And you just beg for mercy because you're already caught.
Yeah.
Just hope for the best. And it's almost like a dog biting the hand that feeds you. This guy has the ability to make your life worse or better. And just be that version. You know, the same thing applies to, you know, in a job scenario. If you're being asked to do something and you're like, I don't really like that, but whatever. You just say, yes, sir, gonna do it. Gonna do the best of my abilities, and hopefully that'll give me some, you know, favor later on down the road or whatever. Instead of just being like, man, fuck that. That sucks.
Mm-hmm.
I'm out of here. It's like, that's a choice when it's a job, but when you're in this prison scenario, you don't have that out. You just have to lean into it and just get the best thing you can out of it.
I imagine, there is only so much you can handle, though. Like, sometimes you're put in a situation where it's like, I can't.
The physical part of it,
I can't abide by whatever, even in a work situation.
Yeah.
Like, Like, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, you just walk. At that point, you're like, this is a bridge too far for me. I quit.
Yeah.
But when you're a prisoner, it's slightly different. And I think that the line for me would be like, number one, the part where he's like making them, the simulated sex.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that was like at like the 20 minute. That was like at the end of the movie.
To see you fuck.
Yeah. It's at the very, very, having sex now? Okay. It's like the very end of the movie. And you're like, that's the part where Billy Crudup's character just.
The complicit prisoners are like,
come on, it's not that bad.
But I couldn't do that. And I couldn't do, when there's a rebellion and they're like, sell out your teammates or your cellmates or whatever. I'm like, I can't do that. And the physical aspect of it's like, you can only do so many push-ups before it turns into, I just can't do what you're asking me to do. I'm not going to assault another person. I'm not going to go against my beliefs. But if you want me to sing a stupid song and learn how to recite my number on my badge fast, whatever, it's like, okay, why fight it? Just do the damn thing so you can get out faster or whatever.
So for me as a prisoner, if I was a prisoner, like at first I would go along with it. I'd be obedient. I'd do everything that they told me to. Because I would have the understanding that's an experiment, right?
Yeah.
But then once I knew like there was going to be like an abuse of power, like
that's when you'd start pushing back.
I wouldn't push back, but I would let them push a little bit. But then once I realized that there was no intervention because I knew like the contract, I would definitely take that nightstick away from that guard and
you'd leave a revolution.
I would probably beat someone. Like it would.
But then you would get beat.
Oh no, I could handle my own. I can take a hit. I can take a hit. Joseph, hit me as hard as you can right now. Oh wait, you can't.
We should have an arm wrestling contest, the three of us.
Arm wrestling?
Yeah.
I would lose.
I don't know. You carry packages all day.
No,
Joseph's the ringer on this. He's a rock climber.
Yeah, he's a rock climber. He has that grip. He has that grip strength.
Yeah.
I don't know if grip has much.
He's that. What's that new meme? The
Hawk 2.
Oh yeah. Hawk 2.
How does that relate to this?
I don't know.
I
don't know. I just wanted
cutting edge news.
I just wanted to put something popular in the show.
I'm just trying
put us in the algorithm.
Just trying to be topical. A couple things about the actual experiment. They actually interviewed a number of other people for it. I think there were like 76 total people they interviewed.
Mm-hmm.
And there's 76 people involved in this?
No, they interviewed to be part of it. And they removed people that had psychological issues, issues with violence, and also health issues that might cause them to have like a reaction.
I was so pissed off they wouldn't give him his glasses.
Yes, what the fuck?
That fucking
I know you would
piss me off.
Stupid.
Like, I need them to see.
But that's the point, though. That's the point.
Why did they take away his glasses?
There's no. I mean, I get you're supposed to take away all their belongings when they go in or whatever, but like, I mean, the glasses. Give them the glasses.
Oh, I want to go back to a point that you made, Tyler. You said the costume design was bad.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
What costume?
The wigs. The wigs.
Oh, the wigs.
Yeah.
You know what? Surprisingly,
for that was egregious. It was egregious.
Wigs usually bad wigs usually irritate me, and it didn't bother me.
I think. I mean, a lot of '70s hair just looks like that.
Looks like that. A lot of feathering.
I guess so.
Do you have
like,
wigs?
It felt so.
It's like malignant.
So fake. Malignant, yeah, that's a good one.
So here's the contributions that stemmed in the real world from this experiment. So contributions to society. Most institutions such as universities, hospitals, and government agencies now require a review of research plans by a panel before basically exacting the experiment. These boards review whether the potential benefits of the research are justifiable in light of the possible risks of physical or psychological harm. These boards may request researchers make changes to the study's design or procedure, or in extreme cases, deny the approval of a study altogether. So this whole thing led to a formal recognition of ethical guidelines by the American Psychological Association. Studies
did something.
Yeah, studies must now undergo an extensive review by institutional review boards or ethics committees before they're implemented, both in the United States and the United Kingdom.
Was there any legal things that happened after this, like with
No.
Zimbardo?
Nope.
Was that his name?
Yep, Zimbardo. Yeah.
Oh.
Strength of the study also is that it altered the way that U.S. prisons are run. For example, juveniles accused of federal crimes are no longer housed before trial with adult prisoners due to the risk of violence against them. However, in the 25 years since this study, the U.S. prison policy has transformed in ways to counter the SPE insights. So they actually made some changes because of it, and now the prison system is trying to go backwards and get them back, basically.
Oh, we need another Stanford Prison Experiment.
Yes.
Oh God, that's terrible.
Can you
But
imagine
we
if this
do.
happened at like Sac State? The Sacramento Prison Experiment.
Yeah, that's right. So there's like a list. There's probably like 30 or 40 changes to prison policy and the prison culture that stemmed from basically the results of this.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
pretty interesting.
So was it worth it though? Like,
Was the results of the experiment just to justify what
the ends
they had
justify
to do?
the means?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think
Who's to
it's.
say?
I think what it because I was thinking about this after I watched the movie. I was thinking about I was thinking about myself in the guard position. Actually, no, I was thinking
fantasizing and jerking off.
Yeah, I know. I was just like, yeah, pants are off.
That power. Oh man.
But I was thinking to
Whoa,
myself,
Tyler, put that away.
I was thinking to myself, did the ends justify the means? Because I knew that this experiment would lead to like a revisionist sort of, or not revisionist, reform of like the justice system. And so I thought to myself, is it worth to like mentally traumatize a bunch of these young adults for the greater good, or should we have had a little bit more meditation on how can we rehabilitate people who are criminals? I mean, like people in like other countries have done it successful, but somehow the U.S. can't get it right.
But this has nothing to do with rehabilitation.
Yeah, it kind of does. I mean, to me, it felt like that. It felt that it was about how do humans interact in the current justice system that is currently implemented right now, which is why he had Lafayette be a consul.
Well, I liked how he said, I'm just here to give you legitimacy to your study. Right. It's almost like, hey, I got a real dude who was actually really in prison, so it's all right.
Yeah.
We're doing it right.
He's like, oh, I have a black friend.
That's going on the board.
There's not a lot of trivia for this movie. The $15 a day all the students were offered, it would equal $94 a day in 2016 if changed for inflation. That's $1,317 in 2 weeks. In the real life experiment, they were paid $20 a day.
Oh, okay.
Which is $125 in 2016 dollars, or $1,756 in 2 weeks. So it was, I guess, equated to a good chunk of change.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's a good bag.
During the real experiment, the prisoners were arrested at their homes and charged with armed robbery. The local Palo Alto Police Department assisted Zimbardo with the arrest and conducted full booking procedures on the prisoners, which included fingerprinting and taking mug shots. The prisoners were then transported to the mock prison from the police station when they were strip searched and given their new identities. The name of the book is called The Lucifer Effect.
Oh, Jesus.
Which seems, I don't know why that seems kind of, I don't know, seems extreme.
Yeah, it does.
This was funded by the U.S. Office of Naval Research.
Really?
And was of interest to both U.S. Navy and Marine Corps as an investigation into the causes of conflict between military guards and prisoners.
Interesting.
There's a German movie called The Experiment, which was released in 2001, and the American remake, The Experiment, in 2010, with Adrian Brody and Forrest Whitaker, are all also based on the Stanford Prison Experiment, but much looser adaptation. And then there's not a whole lot else about this, but I was kind of interested to see if they made a version of this movie that I guess it kind of would be based on that because this actually happened in real life. But they just they fictionalized it and made it more of a thriller. There's more of like a payoff between the guards being so abusive and the prisoners having a rebellion of some sort.
Yeah.
And then I think in the chat someone said, I think it was Heather who mentioned like it'd be different if it was women. If it was all females, I feel like it would have been.
Oh, absolutely.
It would have been. I feel like it would be more. I don't know. I feel like it'd be more like brutal.
Really? You think so?
I don't know. I just feel like it would be.
Oh, that bitch.
Yeah,
I got her number.
I don't know why. I just feel like it would be. It'd be interesting to see that.
Yeah.
If they did that, I feel like it would be a little exploitative. I mean, it is already exploitative to some degree.
I mean, but that's the thing, though. I mean, there's a part in the movie where one of his assistants said, "You become a part of the experiment now."
Yeah, like we are a part of this.
Yeah, like this hasn't become you observing. Like you're an active part in this. Is this even an experiment anymore, or is this an observation?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what like.
I mean, it feels like it. At some point, you're like, "What's the value of this? Where is the value?"
Oh, it was Jack who said that. If it would have gone differently if it had been a woman.
And so I think to myself, what was the overall point? Like even in the beginning of the movie, I was struggling to find the point of his experiment.
Well, yeah, there was a scene of him talking to another professor in the hallway where he's basically getting super defensive about his experiment, and the guy's like, "Did
you put a variable?
What's your control variable here?" And he's like, "Fuck you."
Yeah, he
Fuck
thought
you, my experiment is tight.
He thought he was being hostile towards him, but I think it's because he felt insecure because deep down he knew what he was doing was wrong, but he wanted to see it through.
Yeah, and then when he has his conversation, which he's also not, he has like his girlfriend is like one of his former students.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
great guy.
And then she's like leaving. She's like, this is wrong what you're doing. And then he's like, at the end of her like speech, he's like, "Are you done?"
Yeah,
like as if like he wasn't listening the whole time.
That guy's still alive. I just looked him up because I wanted to use this drop.
But yeah, rest in peace, I guess.
Yeah.
This guy is a piece of shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, rest in peace, I guess.
But he's still alive. He's 91 years old, the guy.
Old man.
That's a drop. That's a drop, classmates. I didn't just say that.
Well, it's okay. He's about this piece of shit. This is a guy that designed this experiment to torture students.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, and when I saw the end credits at the movie where they said, like, none of the people, like, had long-lasting, like, effects, like, I call bullshit on that. There's no...
Oh, except that one guy who became a psychologist.
Yeah.
There is no earthly... There's no way. There's absolutely no way. Based on what...
Cry yourself to sleep, snowflake.
I think
get over it.
I think they just learned something about themselves.
Yeah.
Of course they learned something about themselves. That doesn't like negate like the trauma they went through. Like I can understand though that because of their generation, they don't want to acknowledge like emotional trauma. So
well, it's like the difference between if you take acid knowingly and you take acid not knowingly. If you didn't know that you were on an acid trip and you started tripping, you would potentially have a freak out. If you took acid and you're expecting it and it starts coming, you still could, but you're a lot less likely to have that experience. Where in this scenario, they don't know how long they're going to be in it. They don't know if they think, well, the second the guy got hit with the baton, they should have pulled the plug. Now, when are they ever going to stop this thing? These guys are basically getting raped over there.
Yeah,
simulated.
No, I know all about being drugged. Trust me, it's an experience for sure.
All right.
Why don't you stop talking for a while?
Okay.
You're implicating yourself, Tyler.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying. Like I thought I took ecstasy, but I was drugged with meth.
Oh, okay. Well, that's not good.
Yeah. Terrible.
How was
terrible
it?
time.
How was it?
It was really good for about an hour, and then it was like the worst 5 hours of my life afterwards.
Are you mental?
Interesting.
Yes, I am.
All right, let's put a bow on this thing. Let's get out of here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Review grades, Tyler.
I'm still sticking with a B minus.
Okay.
I think the movie was really well acted. I think the writing was really tight. I think the psychologist could have acted a little bit better. But overall, this movie was engaging. But I think it was engaging for the reasons of talking about like what we just talked about right now, just because we didn't even talk about like, like the technical parts of it. Like it's just the thought experiment, the thought exercise of it all is it's really, it's just really fun to think about. I'm saying fun loosely.
Fun? Super fun.
Like it's just more
prison abuse. All right.
I'm having a good time.
And so I think Jack, I'm glad I watched this movie. I think this was a very fun movie.
Fun.
Yeah, it was a
I
very
don't know
fun
if
movie.
Fun is
I'm
the word.
I'm using that term very loosely.
Very loosely.
I'm saying in the sense that like I like to think about stuff, and so I think it's fun.
Oh, okay.
And so with something like this, it's really like it like perks me up, and I'm about to have the hardest boner right now. And I mean, I think Ezra Miller, I did not like his character.
They.
Who? What?
They. Ezra's a they.
I didn't say.
Yes, you did.
Him.
He said he.
Oh, I did.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's okay.
Well,
it's a mistake.
I'm sorry.
Just
I'm sorry.
It's all right. We don't know them.
I'm looking at you right now, Mr. Miller. I'm so sorry.
Mr. Oh my gosh.
Oh wait, no. Now I'm fucking. I'm done.
What do you say? What would be the neutral Mr. Mrs.
You'd say
Doctor.
Ezra, I'm sorry I mispronounced your pronouns. However, you were weak in this movie.
Well, good. I'm sure they're listening.
But yeah, it was still B minus. It's still B and minus.
Okay, that's good. All right, Joseph, what do you got? What's your grade?
I'm gonna give this an A minus.
Okay,
an A minus. It was a very solid, engaging, thrilling, thought-provoking, frustrating,
A minus,
tense movie that was well made and well put together, well edited, and mostly well performed, acted, and the subject matter was very interesting, although like very fucked up situation.
Yeah,
but I like kind of movies like this, like a kind of like uncomfortable Lord of the Flies. I mean, in that they're much younger, but just like factions, I guess, or prisoners and guards.
Yeah,
and just you're given this much power, and this is what you do with it, and you're and frustrating because like I just wanted that full on rebellion to happen. I wanted the roles to switch. It'd be so interesting if it did, and then you end up sympathizing with the former guards who are now prisoners.
Oh, I see. Like if they at halfway through a point they switched.
Yeah, the rebellion.
Now that's a study I want to watch.
The rebellion succeeded. If like the warden was like planted, like gave them the ability, the prisoners secretly to like unlock all their cells and like told them like now overthrow the guards, like overpower them. There's 9 of you and only 3 of them.
Beat them to death with a bar of soap and a pillowcase.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, that would be pretty interesting to see.
You know, it's almost like when as if in Don't Tell a Soul when when the younger brother is antagonizing his younger brother in the hole and pissing on him and stuff like that, and then he goes, "All right, into the hole."
Oh yeah.
Like, what? I wouldn't have done those things if I would.
Yeah. Well, sorry, that's one place for you to go. All right, but yeah, A minus.
A minus. I'm gonna go with Joseph as well. I'm an A minus on this. I think that the it's close to an A even for me, just because the acting I thought was really well done. The emotions were believable. The characters had their roles and they were believable. Everybody I think was cast really well, and Michael Angarano does not He's not the type of person I would have thought in that. I didn't know who he was when I watched it the first time. Now knowing the kind of comedic roles that he usually plays, and just a little bit more of a demure type of a character that doesn't have the confidence that this guy has, it was like very surprising to see him really settling into that role. And just like the one shot of him kicking the door open to the guards like dressing room and saying, "All right, boys, how about we make this a night to remember?" And you're like, damn, he's coming up. He really is loving this. He's having a blast. I thought it was great. And then the nuance of Billy Crudup's character, the scientist or whatever, the professor, just he's slipping further into losing himself in the experiment. And thought he was great. Lafayette's character is great. Just really, really solid performances all around, and more bleak than I really hoped for. So I can't imagine I'm going to rewatch this again anytime soon. So this plus with We Need to Talk About Kevin probably contributed to a huge part of Ezra Miller's decline.
Oh yeah, mental state. Those movies, these two movies affected their own psychology.
Yeah, that's right.
IRL.
Yeah. So that's it. Now it's time for the Wheel of Destiny. 1 wheel, 8 slots, 3 hosts. This is the Wheel of Destiny. All right, Stanford Prison Experiments off the wheel. Where's my marker here? There it is. Tyler, you actually have a movie to replace.
I do.
Iron Claw.
Off the wheel.
Off the wheel from last week.
Off the wheel. Yep.
Before I put the next Patreon movie on, want to tell us what your replacement's going to be?
Yeah, this is going to be 1983's Suburbia, directed by Penelope Spheris. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. She's pretty much, she directed The Decline of Western Civilization.
What year is this, Tyler?
1983.
Okay.
She also, I think she concluded her music video work with the Grammy-nominated Bohemian. Yeah, she did the Bohemian Rhapsody video for Wayne's World.
Wayne's World.
Yeah.
Wait, like she did the.
Wait, what?
Is she the director of Wayne's World?
No, she wasn't the director of Wayne's World. She just directed the Bohemian Rhapsody segment for Wayne's World.
What? Like them in the car?
Yeah.
Why would she direct that and not the whole movie?
Well, because she was prolific in rock and roll.
Yeah, she directed Wayne's World.
Oh, she directed Wayne's World.
Yes.
Okay. I thought it was just the scene. I misread that.
Oh, okay.
Ooh, she directed Little Rascals in 1994.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah. And the Beverly Hillbillies.
So I'm picking Suburbia because it's a movie that I've been meaning to revisit because I watched this when I was in my infancy of getting into punk rock. You know, like I had my denim jacket and I only had like a patch or two on it, and
I was a baby punk, only had the 2 patches.
I was a baby punk, but my friend group that I had, they invited me over and we watched Suburbia on VHS and I fell in love with it. And I just recently thought about it a couple of days ago.
Okay.
And I thought that would be an interesting revisit.
Okay, that's fine. We're not picking it this week, so you don't have to go too far into it.
We're not?
Why?
It could be picked.
We could be. But leave that for when the wheel lands on it.
All right, fine. But yeah, Suburbia.
Okay. All right, so the Patreon pick, Jack's pick is off the wheel. The Patreon pick that we're replacing, hopefully, Big Red Dowl's in the chat still, because his pick is Grizzly Man, the Werner Herzog documentary about.
Oh my God, I love that documentary.
Emil Hirsch being eaten by a bear.
What? No.
Into the Wild.
That's different.
No,
it's not the same guy who gets eaten.
What?
No.
Into the Wild, he dies from berries, huh?
Yes.
Berries, same thing.
Oh wait, so is it Into the Wild?
No,
or
it's Grizzly Man.
It's Grizzly
okay,
Man.
Grizzly.
In my head, it was the same guy dying.
I have a lot of thoughts about that documentary. I hope we can talk about it.
No, we're gonna skip it. Actually,
Eventually,
forever.
we will.
Wait, we're gonna skip it? What?
I'm joking. We're getting there. It's
called a joke.
Yeah, there's 8 slots on the wheel. The 2 Patreon picks: Kentucky Fried Movie from Heather, who's in the chat; Grizzly Man from Dallas; Mute from Pete; Monster Squad from Pete; Suburbia from Tyler; American History X from Tyler, the longest one on the wheel; Dune Part 1 and Part 2 combined for Joseph; and Notting Hill for Joseph. So we're going to give this a spin. This is going to be what we watch next week.
Or not next week.
Oh, yeah. Maybe 2 weeks from now. Dune Part 1 and Part 2. Together.
As
at
one
last.
movie.
As one
No,
movie.
that's not it. No, that's not it.
It is it.
It is it. It is.
It is it. What is it?
Dune Part 1, Part...
Yes, the saga. The one book turned into 2 movies.
Oh my God. Okay.
Okay, so...
Okay.
We have a little housekeeping to do. I'm going to Portugal. I'm leaving in just a couple of days, and I'm going to be releasing these 2 episodes we just recorded, and then we have nothing. I have nothing planned at that point.
Yeah.
I don't know I don't know if I'm going to have enough time to create a stand-in, like throw up an old episode or something. I might, but I got a lot to do in the next couple of days before I leave the country. So I'm going to try, but classmates, you may not have new episode.
The week of the
first week of July.
Yeah.
The first week of July, yeah.
First week of July. So I'll be back around the 4th of July. We'll record that weekend, and that'll be July 6th.
Yeah, you're coming back on July 4th?
3rd, yeah.
3rd? Okay.
Technically, officially.
All right.
So
it's a lot of movie to watch before Saturday.
That's fine, not a problem. I'm going back to back them.
I mean, I assume you're probably going to watch at least a couple movies when you're in Portugal.
I don't know.
Yeah, you gonna have time?
I have no idea. I'm literally just playing. I'm planning on being drunk on a beach for most of the time.
Yeah, I was going to say, you know what they say about Portugal?
What's that?
What do they say about Portugal?
It's full of
Whatever
Portuguese.
happens.
What happens in Portugal?
That's why I love Tyler. I can bring my C game jokes, and he loves them. That's a C at best. At best.
I don't know. No, it's great. It's great stuff, man.
Yeah.
Great stuff.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I don't know. I thought about it. If they have a theater there, I don't know. It's a very touristy area, so I'm sure there is, but I don't know if I'm going to want to spend any time in the theater.
Yeah.
I'm watching movies on the plane. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe, yeah, because I don't know if my mom's seen Dune 1 or 2. Because she's flying with me, and we're going to sit side by side, and we were planning on watching movies the whole way there.
Oh, perfect.
On my laptop.
Oh, well, there you go.
When I was in New Zealand, I saw Rogue One when it first came out.
Nice.
Yeah. In a very tiny theater.
That's cool.
Yeah.
It was in a Hobbit hole?
No, but it was about the size, compared to a modern movie theater over here, it was about the size of a Hobbit hole.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Chris says, Pete, I got you. I'll do a Geiger's full grain review at the barbecue. Please. So that's going to be our bonus content for next week.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah, because Pete is the host of the whole thing here.
Yeah, it's my the studio is in my house.
The board is here.
The board's here.
Yeah. And it would be like,
well, it's called the Abeyta Studios for a reason.
And he's been the constant throughout essentially the common denominator for the whole show. And unless I'll take a break for something. It's never just been me and Tyler.
No, unless you guys want to try to piecemeal together an episode.
Huh? I was thinking about that. I was like, what would we do? Would we just do like a movie review, or would we just do a Gavin chatter? Because like just to make it easier.
You guys should go drinking. I think that's what you do.
Oh yeah.
Hey, we should do.
We get a couple of belts at the pond that I frequent. Oh my god.
We should do an episode on your mom's show.
Oh, that's not bad.
I would love that.
We do a cross-universe crossover special.
What do? We watch like a rom-com with your mom or something? That's a good episode. That's a good name for a podcast.
Rom-com with your mom.
Rom-com with your mom.
Rom-com with your mom. Oh my god.
Sounds like Brandon Snyder's show, movies of the women in my life.
Yeah.
Great shit. Man.
All right. So anyway, next week will not be a normal episode. Maybe there'll be something special, something weird I don't even know about.
Or it might be nothing.
Yeah, it might be nothing. You go shout into the void and give you a little bit of break from our gab and chatter.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'll be a summer vacation.
We should do an episode of Tyler and Company.
I've been begging for years.
That'd be funny. Do an offshoot but still under the guise of
on the
MCFC.
Yeah, on the same podcast stream.
You're just hosting Tyler's show.
I mean, that was the
Why
first
would-
two
wait,
episodes I produced for you, and you ungrateful. You didn't even episode 3. Where's it been? Episode 3. Where's it?
Hey, look, it's
I already have your intro ready. Oops, not that one. Where is it?
You don't have to look. It's fine.
All right. Anyways.
All right.
Thank you to our cool ass yard duties on Patreon. That's Javier, Heather Sachs in the chat, Ryan Corbin, and Chris. Chris also in the chat.
Yes.
Geiger.
He says, I thought it was the Beta's studio.
Oh, yeah.
Boom.
That's my last name, Abeyta.
Yeah.
Like
Abeyta.
Betas like
in-
alpha beta.
Betas in quotes.
Yeah. Alpha, beta, gamma, delta. But anyways, yeah, thank you to our cool SDR duties. You guys are help the show, grease the wheels, lube the chute, all that kind of stuff. And thank you to everyone who's watching us on YouTube. If you are a podcast listener and you don't watch the YouTube, it makes no difference at all to you. Just hit on the YouTube channel. We actually get credit for that. It's we're trying to lead more people to the YouTube. And you can see some of the visual gags that we got going on and stuff that we're talking about, get involved in the chat and all that.
Yeah.
I got something fun I want to show the group, the class next 2 weeks from now on next episode. But hey, Dal's in the chat. He says, I'm so stoked for Dune.
Yes.
Yes.
So am I.
I'm sure you are.
You should be too. It's exciting.
It is. It's good. I don't know if you heard. It's a good movie. Two
I've
movies.
Heard. Yeah. I've heard.
And in Dallas is... now that your pick's on the board, it's in no time we're gonna have Dallas's hopefully no sound drop from Dallas.
Yeah.
Sultry tone of his voice on the show again.
The movie.
Yeah.
Gets a B.
I actually pulled a clip of Dallas when he did the trivia episode for us.
Yeah.
Where he's giving Tyler's score and he just goes 5.
Yeah.
Tyler's score was 5. We're like 450, 60. Tyler's score 5. I love it. Dallas is a great radio voice.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's wrap this thing up.
Yeah.
Let's get out of here.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for participating in the chat. If you do not do that, go over to the YouTube channel and get involved. Follow us in 2 weeks when we review Dune Part 1 and Part 2. Follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/MCFC podcast, and send us an email, mcfcpodcast@gmail.com.
And follow us on Instagram at Middle Class Film Class and leave us a voicemail, why don't you, at 209-730-6010.
And follow us on TikTok at Middle Class Film Class and on Twitter at Podcast MCFC.
Thank you to Jack for the recommendation. This episode has been really fun. So we'll see you next time.
See ya.
See ya.
Pigeons? Yeah.